now we are live on YouTube. So we'll start in a couple of minutes. We're just gathering at this moment. Hi Gaurang, good to see you. Manish, you want to start this session?
Just give me 1 minute. Yes, I can start now.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Today, there is a special conclave, Meet the Experts think tank. Very warm welcome to all participants. Myself, CA Manish Sanghvi, think tank multidisciplinary global platform. Chapter leader welcomes you all to Think Tank Global Conclave for India Growth Story and Meet the Experts series, covering in all detail management think tank, valuations think tank, IBC think tank, financial reporting think tank, Vera Cooperative think tank, FFP ISA think tank, IPOs think tank, and capital markets think tank as a major part of think tank at Vivek.Patra. Vivek in Sanskrit means knowledge and wisdom. Patra is innovative news updates containing slides on sharing latest developments and a real-life examples by CEO, CXO, CFO, specialists, and professionals with a global experience. Today, we have a think tank multidisciplinary global platform special meeting for all stakeholders in finance, corporate affairs, industry, and profession. Think tank has been in existence since over decades. Idea for this conceived on 6th January 1991 to have conferences, conclaves with CEO, CXO, CFO panelists and specialists sharing experiences and real-life examples. Our panelists are finance leaders working in reputed companies or profession since many years and have a deep domain knowledge. Think tank platform Now Digital has got overwhelming response globally on digital mediums and expanding rapidly through LinkedIn and Facebook, etc. Our participants and experts have a rich experience in industry and profession who have done ICEAW, CPA, CFA, CFP, IIM, CA, CS, CMA, ISA, DSA, FRM, IFRS, BTech, Masters, PhD, sharing their experiences, knowledge, and wisdom, spreading as a reach out initiative globally through www.thinktanks.co.in and in spite of our limited resources. Due to overwhelming response to our annual report, corporate strategy and ESG, we have announced 6P awards and recognitions, that is profit, people, planet, professionals, promoters, and platform. For corporate annual reports, analysts, professional achievers, CEOs, CXO, CFOs with a very respected jury with rich experience in interaction with stakeholders and boards. The recognitions and awards would be announced with a rigorous process of scrutiny and choice and interaction with participants and would be given digitally and if possible in a well-located auditorium in Mumbai like Yogi Sabhagriha or similar when available subject to the pandemic rules. As participants are aware, recently we have launched a much awaited referencer, a kind of newsletter, appropriately titled think.tank@vivek.patra, India Growth Story, a comprehensive conference material compilation of over 600 pages sharing experiences by CEOs, CXO, CFOs, specialists with latest developments and series on blocking, regulatory frauds, financial reporting, in ASIBC, taxation, digital capital markets, technical analysis, ISA, bank audit, corporate affairs would be available for subscription and any ethical contributions by well-wishers, etc. We will also be covering important and latest development as suggested by many participants in coming weeks. Example, valuations and financial modeling, health is wealth, cybersecurity, blockchain, MSME, etc. We request all to subscribe to Think Tank YouTube channel for watching summits, conclaves, webinars, and join, connect, and network on Think Tank webinars group on LinkedIn and Facebook pages, Telegram channel, and specially created on suggestions of many participants and panelists. We once welcome all members and panel share few insights on Vivek Think Tank at Patra India Growth Story. I specially thank my colleagues in the digital team, Anupam, Aditya, Ajay, Anurag, Archana, Aishwari, Hemant, Mitesh, Mihir, Malvika, Nipun, Nischal, Pramod, Praveen, Rakesh, Rucha, Pramod, R. Kannan, Manish, Santosh, Subrat, Snehal, Sandeep, Unmesh, Vijay, Vikas, Yogesh, and others for regularly contributing to Think Tank at Vivek.Patra. Today, we have an excellent think tank multidisciplinary platform seminar, eminent stalwarts and specialists sharing their experience and latest developments. Let's have an interactive events. Thank you all for joining. Welcome all once again. We can start the process. We can start the meeting. Manoj sir, you take it forward. Sir, your voice is not there, Manoj sir.
Thank you very much. Indeed, a pleasure and privilege for me with you all. Happy Holi. Greetings of the festive seasons to everybody throughout the world. And wonderful insights, lots of developments on the global business environment, lots of changes, deep dive insights. So good to see. Wonderful presentations and interactive discussions planned today. I see many stalwarts are here. Lots of work being done. Gaurang Shah. Are you there, Gaurang?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Gaurang has done recently advanced valuation course, New York University with Aswat Damodaran, right? Who is known as a wizard and on valuations throughout the world. His, in fact, a blog on Google and also tweets are well known. Insights on, in fact, new age companies also. And this is part of a series. Gaurang suggested he can do a series on startups with deep dive into financial modeling, basics, and then move forward and then look into various models. Vikas Agarwal. Vikas, you are here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Vikas, who has done all the business and financial models and running startups at the CEO level and going forward would also be sharing his experiences on the new trends, fintechs, etc. I think we have quite a few other people also joining in, and let's have an excellent interactive session. We have many more people joining in. Yes, look forward to a very lively interactive session. Vikas, a few words from you, and then Gaurang can start his presentation. Vikas?
Yeah. So today we have gathered for, I think for financial modeling, right, Manoj?
Financial modeling, global business environment, fintech, live interactive session with lots of real life examples.
Okay. So I'll go through on the fintech.
You can mention a few words about modeling startups, fintech, briefly, and then we can have a lively interactive session on deep dive, and then we can come on various issues. I think there are many models being shared. Would like to have your inputs on many of the models.
Yeah. So in financial modeling, generally when we talk about the lending, so there is like CMA and financial modeling for the project finance. And when we come on the startups, so there are basically three types of startups are working like fintechs, edtechs, and health tech. And so again, there is a like valuation and their financial modeling is done, and there are the investment bankers who are arranging the funds for them. And in fintech also there are like few are doing into the payment banks and payment and settlement companies, then in lendings and in insurance. So there are few types of fintechs are also working into it.
Wonderful insights to start with. Gaurang, you are ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's have your deep dive presentation, and we'll be having a very interactive session.
Is the presentation visible?
Yes, Gaurang. Yes, Gaurang, you can go ahead.
Yes. Good morning to everyone, and wish you a very happy Holi. I would like to first of all thank the think tank committee members, Manoj sir, Aditya sir, Manish sir, for all to giving me this opportunity to address our today's session on the subject matter of financial modeling and DCF valuation. So the flow of our session will be, first we'll be discussing what is a financial model, the uses of all the financial models, how we build a financial model. We'll be using an Excel template, a very basic Excel template which can be used for across various models. Obviously, depending upon the company's complexity, the nature of transactions, the models changes, but I'll be showing here you a basic model, and the changes can be made on those models as per the requirement. Then we'll discuss about the different types of financial model. I have template for each financial model. So we can, we'll have a look into it and we'll have a discussion on it. And at the end of the session, we'll have a discussion on the DCF model, how the three factors of free cash flows, discount rate, and terminal value are derived to arrive at the DCF. So to begin with the session, what is a financial model? So my core practice is into valuation. I do the company's valuation, the startup valuations for funding, for the purpose of transactions like merger, amalgamation, or the demerger. for the statutory requirement, as well as like for Ind AS impairment testing. In all those valuation assignments, even if the approaches are different, let's say for startup, we use comparable analysis. For a company which is into heavy assets, we use cost approach method. The company which are into going concern, which are for which we use the DCF model. For all the assets, for all the transaction, a financial model is required. Why so? Because the financial model help us to analyze the company's future performance, future financial performance. For while doing the valuation, we look into the operational, legal, and the financial model. All the three factors, we do the analysis, and one of them is the financial model. So the financial model, a basic definition is a model used to forecast assets' financial performance. In this assets, I mean companies as well as tangible and intangible assets. And the financial model is not, is used in our day-to-day life also. Like we prepare the monthly expenses budget at our home, or let's say we plan for a trip. We do the analysis of what will be the cost of each factors, like staying, flight cost, accommodation, then the internal travel, tourist fees, etc. So in short, a financial model is a tool for decision making. It is a simplest definition and it covers everything with respect to the financial model. That is, it is a tool for decision making. Going further, the uses of financial model, we'll have a quick glance on what are the uses of financial models. First is to evaluate the operations of the business. It helps the business in forecasting the gross merchandise sales, the target customers, revenue, cost metrics, break-even units, at what units will the, at what sales, number of sales of units will the company will be able to make a break-even, number of employees required to hire, and such other variables. It also helps us in assessing the future financial performance of the company, that is assessing the future EBITDA level, profit margin, analysis like return on equity, return on investment, IRR, etc. The model also helps us in estimating the capital requirement, which includes short-term as well as the long-term, which includes equity as well as the borrowing. Equity can be either direct equity as well as CCPS or OCPS, or a CCD based on your negotiation with the investors. The financial model also helps us in estimating the capex requirement, the number of the capex which the company will have to deploy to achieve the number of sales. This is the most important extract from the financial model, especially for a startup, that how will a startup, a company will generate the cash, where it will be used. It can be used for the payment of operational expenses, for repayment of debt, for interest repayment, and whether the company has generated the sufficient cash to pay off its, to pay the investors dividend or for the buyback. The one of the purpose, one of the main requirement for estimating the valuation, especially in the DCF method or any other income approach, is the financial model. Because based on the future cash flows, which we arrive, we discount them and we arrive at the valuation using the DCF method. We'll discuss on the same at the later part of our presentation. And at the end, one of the usage is the ratio analysis, where we perform the performance analysis, the variance analysis, the difference between the budget and the actual. We do this sensitivity analysis, stress analysis, wherein we look into the factors, like if the sales drops by certain number of units, if the sales price has to be reduced by a certain number of percentage, the cost has increased by certain percentage, what will be the impact? What will be the financial impact on the company? So before building a financial model, following points are to be kept in mind. First, it has to be made in such a way that it is easy to understand. One should not make a very complicated business financial model using all the Excel formulas and everything. It should be kept easy such that it is understandable to us as well as it is understandable to a non-finance guy. Because once we do the financial model, we present it to our top management, then based on the financial model, the top management send it to the salesperson or the engineers, and the financial model should be understandable to them also. The financial model should be prepared in such a way that it is easy to update. For example, you have prepared a financial model and now you are discussing it with the management. Some of the inputs the management may give some slight ask you to make some slight changes in the financial model. Our financial model should be prepared in such a way that at least such small changes are incorporated easily, and the required results, the data is extracted very easily and instantly. As I said in the first point, that it is easy to understand, that is that should be prepared in such a way that it is simple, yet our purpose is solved. And the most important part of the financial model, the purpose of the financial is that the required data are easily extracted from it. So data, generally the financial model for a startup, the data which one required is the projected number of years of sales, your EBITDA levels, your PAT levels, your capex requirement, your working capital requirement, the total funds required, and certain financial ratios like monthly burn rate, customer acquisition cost, cost of equity, cost of return of equity, return on investment, IRR, DSCR if a company has been raising debt. So all these data and number of other financial analysis ratios, data as per the requirement of the management, as per the requirement of the investors, as per the requirement of the industry of that particular company. All such data should be easily extractable from it. So following are the steps of building a financial model. First is an imagination or vision, a mission which for which company has, like the group of investors and entrepreneur has a vision of building a particular product, or has already built a pilot product and wants them to get it monetized. All this, or maybe a company gets into a restructuring transaction, like an M&A transaction, a merger or a slump sale transaction. Such and what will be the synergies developed from that? All that covers a part of a vision. Post that, we have to do the historical analysis of the data of that particular company. Like what is the past growth and what are the cost outlines, the list of costs, the percentage, the working capital, number of days, historical financial analysis of the historical return on investment, return on equity, their PAT margins, and we have to compare it with the industry standard, so that we get to know is whether the company, whether the startup is in line with the industry, or is there any gap for the improvement? Is there any chance for the improvement? Is there any improvement required in that? Market research, this is the most important part of the financial model. is to do the market research. A company can either hire an outside consultant or can organize an inside consultant team to do the market research. The market research, the consultant evaluate the potential, provides the critical information like business landscapes, the demography, the accepted sales price of the product, the geographical region, and the customers, potential customers, as well as what are all the costs involved in manufacturing the product, the availability of all the raw materials, their constraints. The constraints are very important, especially with the COVID coming into the place where various companies, almost each and every company had faced a supply chain difficulties, and how a financial model can, can mitigate that risk of supply chain. It also helps us in analyzing the required team which we require and what are the hiring cost of all those teams and other such variables. Here we also arrive at TAM, SAM, and SOM, that is TM, SAM, SOM, are examined so that the management can understand their market. Here TAM means total available market, that is the market for our product worldwide. SAM means the serviceable available market, that is the market our product can reach, the geographical region which will be catering. And SOM means the serviceable or obtainable market, or that is our target market, based on our capacity, based on our peers capacity, peers market share. So if I give an example, for example, if a startup is into building of electrical bicycle, their SAM, their TAM will be, let's say, worldwide number of units sold, number of potential market of the electrical bicycle. Request participant to please mute themselves. Sorry. Okay. So let's say in a electric bicycle, the TAM will be the worldwide usage of bicycle and percentage of people converting from the traditional bicycle to the electrical bicycle. The SAM could be the geographical region which the company wishes to target. Let's say if a company have a unit in Pune, a small startup has having a unit in Pune which has developed a private model and is looking for funding. So for them at current stage, their SAM would be Gujarat and Maharashtra, that area, that market would be. And SOM would be the target. Let's say there are multiple number of peers in that, so it won't be that they'll get the monopoly of maybe 50% of this. So that target, let's say 10%, 15% of that SOM will be the target addressable market, that is that target market. Suppose that we are once using this market research data, the consultant draws the assumptions. The assumption includes the number of product the company will be launching, the expected sales price, its cost, including the inflation effects, and other direct cost as well as indirect cost, including employee cost, rent, marketing. Marketing includes digital advertising, promotional events, content creator, etc. Let me show you. Is the Excel visible? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So see, you can see here, we have, listed down the number of assumptions. The assumptions are for the sales of product. First of all, products will be matching. The rate at which each product will be sold. So this is the expected. We don't know, the company has yet to get into the market. So we are assuming an expected rate which the customers might accept. Suppose that we'll distribute our sales based on the geographical location. For maybe country wise, let's say India, US, Europe, geographical region. And over here, initial days, we can assume that the company would be having a market in India. But let's say post 2 or 3 years, if a company wants to expand the market to other countries also, we have to make the financial model for the same. Hence, over here, we have jotted down the other companies. Post that, the number of cities. Here I have directly gone into the cities. One can, based on their industry, one can, based on the requirement of the salesperson, they can jot down the state wise also, and in the state they can jot down the cities. And we arrive at the revenue figures over here. So the other assumptions are the direct cost, that is the number of raw materials required, the cost of each raw material, other expenses, the other direct expenses, if any, then the job working, packaging, and with that we arrive at the cost of production per unit. Post that, the other indirect expenses, which includes employees cost, we have jotted down, like sales manager, sales executive, admin cost. For the research and development, we have to make the provision for them, like front end development developer, back end developer, software engineers, other engineers, directors cost, miscellaneous R&D, other than the R&D which we have already accounted for. There could be, we can make a provision for some miscellaneous R&D expenditures also. We have to make the provisions for sales and marketing, like agency cost, content creator, publicity, open house, the discounts, the promotional events, which the cost of the kiosk, the showroom cost can also be added in this, and the other admin rent. So if you can see over here, in each cost, I have written over the units and the rate. Units, let's say a company need a one warehouse in the initial period. It can jot it down as one unit and the expected rate for that particular space. The traveling cost is the after sales service. The after sales service, one can use the industry standards and can directly link it with the revenue cost. Same can go with the transportation cost also. And we make a provision for miscellaneous cost. So we have covered the sales, forecasting the sales based on the product, geographical region, also the direct expenses and the other expenses. Suppose that we look into the long term and the fixed and the capex. In the financial model, we list down the expected long term assets or long-term, payment which we required to do. Let's say for rent, we need to provide for the rent deposits. For some suppliers, we might have to give some advance supply because R is a startup. So, and there could be, risk in the payment terms also. So the supplier, a good supplier might ask for the advance payment. Suppose that based on the market research, what all the plant and machinery will be requiring, the expected cost of all the plant and machinery which will be have to deploy, the desktop, the laptops, the cameras, office equipment, furnitures, all the other capex expenditure which will be requiring at the stage to achieve those sales figures, to run our company. All are the capex cost. We enter over here. Suppose that we also calculate for the depreciation benefits and arrive at the WDP. This, even though I have done it for the monthly basis, depreciation and WDP part can be done on quarterly or 6 monthly basis also. But this total capex cost has to be done on monthly basis. It is preferable to do the financial modeling on monthly basis, because what might happen is that the first 6 months company might incur some huge expenses for, let's say, for 1.5 months, and post that it start recovering. So the funds requirement data won't be up. We won't be getting a clear picture of that. Post the fixed assets, we move to the working capital, other balance sheet items. That is number of days for the trade receivables, number of days for the trade payables, inventory, and other current assets and liabilities. Now, this might include the TDS receivable, the TDS paid, because TDS payable, GST payable. Once we have considered about all these above items, we will be getting the exact cash funds which we require, the funds which a startup should raise so that its vision, its purpose is solved. To achieve certain number of units, we have to achieve certain number of sales, we have to incur all these expenses. We have to incur the capex cost. We have to deploy funds for the working capital. The cash flows give us the idea about the funds which will be requiring, the negative cash flow through all this, which will, and that is to be calculated on maximum deficit over the period of time which a company has, which a startup has arrived at. That will be the funds required. So if you can see, we have put up our assumptions for the revenue, for the fixed assets and the balance sheet items. Suppose that we work on the monthly profit statement. We then, based on the assumption, we work on the monthly balance sheet items. We work on the monthly cash flow items. And then the yearly summary of the P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. So as I mentioned, this is a very basic sort of a financial budget. The complexity can change based on the user's requirement, management requirements, investors' requirement, based on the company's nature of transactions and everything. So the types of financial model. So in generally, there are 7 types of financial model we prepared for the evaluation. First is a very basic, that is a 3-statement model. The 3-statement model contains financial parts, that is 3 basic financial: profit and loss, projected profit and loss, projected balance sheet, and projected cash flow. You can see this is the 3-statement financial model. In first, we have to jot down the assumptions. Okay, so 3 years of historical data we have put. We have kept a provisional. I assume that the 31st March has ended, and we have a provisional figures for those, and the projected for the next 5 years. So here, if you can see the historical data, the incomes, the assumptions we have jotted down, the increase in sales growth, the COGS, the cost of goods, we have kept for simplicity, we have kept similar. We have, stated the employee cost. If you can see, the employee cost is been, we have accounted for the inflation cost. Similar for the fixed overheads. These are the fixed overheads. We have to consider the inflation cost, and the variables are linked with the sales figures. The interest cost, we have kept it as a 9%, and a tax rate of 25.17%. Similarly, for the inventory, trade receivable, trade payables, these figures, if you can see, these have come through the formulas because these are the historical data. Whereas these are the projected data. We have used the for simplicity, we have used this same ratios in the projected years also. So these are the sales figures of the company. These are the cost of goods. Based on that, we have arrived at the COGS. So this is a profit and loss statement. This is the growth we have kept. Okay. This is the cost of goods based on the expected percentage of COGS, and which is kept, which we have kept in line with the provisionals for 2022. Similar for the expenses, depreciation, finance cost. These are the balance sheet items and the cash flow items. So the 3-statement model consists of 3 parts, that is the P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow items. Moving to the next model, that is a merger model. The merger model is used when a company undergoes a restructuring involving a merger, demerger, or maybe an amalgamation. In cases where company A plus or company B combines together to form company C, or maybe company A, company B amalgamate and company A, or there's a demerger of say company A minus company B and a resultant company into company A and company B. So this is a merger model. You can over here see similar to the 3-statement model, the assumptions, the profitability, the balance sheet data. You can see a company A and B getting merged into company AB. Okay. One thing over here you must account is for the synergies. If a company is getting merged, obviously there are some synergies which is gained. So we have to account for those such synergies. Over here, if you see, we have considered the synergies in the sales figures. So here the sales is if a company A is individual grow is standalone basis, it's growing at a 15%. company B is growing at a 15%, but when the two companies are merged, the company will gain in at least in the initial period of 30% growth, we are assuming, then 25, 20, 15, reducing it to the 10%, unless there is any special transaction happening. Each and every company has a level of as this life cycle. It grows and it slowly gets reduced to the nominal growth level. So see over here, company A sales is 10 lakh 35, company B is 2 lakh 7, so that comes to 12 lakh 42. Whereas company AB, the sales projected sales is 14 lakh 4,000. So there's a synergies which was developed that can be seen in the PAT also. This plus, so company is with the amalgamation, the company has gained the synergies. So this helps the management, especially the top level management, to assess how the two companies once gets amalgamated or gets demerged, what will be their performance, they projected sales, they projected balance sheet items, PAT, EBITDA, and the cash flows which the company might generate post restructuring. This helps the company in asserting the financial performance of the company post merger, post restructuring. Is my presentation aware? Sorry. The third model which we'll be discussing is about the DCF model. In the DCF, as we all know, the purpose of DCF is to discount the cash flows. So here in this model, we predict the future cash flows to the firm, to the equity, to arrive at the valuation. We'll look into the DCF model later on when we discuss about it. Sum of the part model, let's say there's a big conglomerate which are into various businesses, diversified areas, and valuing the whole entity as a one is very difficult. Let's say, for example, Reliance. Reliance is into oil, Reliance is into retail, Reliance is into communication. Consolidating whole and valuing as an entity is very difficult. Hence, each part, oil company is valued separately. Retail business is valued separately, and telecom is valued separately, and post that the whole value is combined together to arrive at organization, the whole entity's value. I request members to please. So see here, if you can see, this is the sum of the part model. As I mentioned, the basic remains the same for each and every company. These are the assumptions: profitability, balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. Over here, we have used market approach to arrive at the enterprise value. Okay, so if you can see, the company A is into the chemical business. So the holding company is company AB, which has two subsidiaries. Company A is into chemicals and company B is into apparels. So company A, we have used the EV by EBITDA, the market multiple, 14. For that we have used, as mentioned, Professor Damodaran, every year at the start of year, he publishes this data. market data, which are freely available on the NYU website. So we have used this, chemical multiple of 14.15, and for the financial 2020, the provisional numbers which we have taken the EBITDA. This is the EBITDA of 1,52,400, just for the simplicity. So we have arrived the enterprise value using EBITDA, EBITDA multiple, as well as we are using the sales multiple of 2.6. So here EV by sales for the chemical and business is 2.60. Averaging out, and we have arrived at the enterprise value. It is not, the market approach is not as simple as this. There are multiple factors to be taken into consider, like the sales of the market share of the listed companies versus our market share, the EBITDA levels, the profit margin levels. For the simplicity of for the explanation, I have considered a simple. Same is used for the apparels, the EBITDA level and the sales margin of the financial year 2022. We have used the EBITDA, EV by EBITDA multiples, that is the apparels, as published published by Professor Damodaran. And EV by sales of the apparel is 1.15 multiplied by the EBITDA level, and we have arrived at the enterprise value. And I request members to please mute. Thank you. So over here we have estimated the enterprise value of two subsidiaries of the company AB, that is company A chemical, which is into the chemicals, company B, which is into apparels. And using the sum part, we have jotted down the chemicals and the apparels of both the enterprise value of both the company, combining it, and we arrive at the enterprise value of combined entity, that is the holding company AB. We adjust for any corporate expenses, any loans, to arrive at the net enterprise value, because holding company itself might be having, even though it does not is not into the operations, it might still have some corporate expenses and loans. So we account for those along with some other investment which the company might have made. And a company AB equity value is arrived as a whole. So for such huge entity organization which have different areas, sum of the part model is used to arrive at the valuation. The next is the leverage buyout model. It is the most infamous model, the transaction in which a PE firm borrows loan to buy an entire entity, the whole equity, entire equity holding of the company, and the cash generated from the target company, once it is getting acquired, is used to pay off the debt, or the company might go for the IPO and pay off the debt. So whether the management should, so the leverage buyout model is prepared to do the analysis that whether the PE firm should acquire the should borrow the fund, acquire the entity, hold it for some time, and then list it out again, or the cash generated they can sell it off post 3 or 5 years once the required return is achieved, whether the company should do, whether the PE firm should do or not. So here is the, let's say it's a 2022 and the share price of the target company is 300 and there are outstanding 500 shares. So totally market cap of 15,000. Company's current debt is 600, has a current cash of 100. So the net debt is of 500, through which we evaluate the enterprise value of 15,500 rupees. The company's sales is 6,000. The EBITDA is of last 12 months is 2,400, and this is and the free cash flow post debt repayment is 480. So with this, we have arrived at the EV EBITDA multiple of current EV EBITDA multiple of 6.46 for the company. This we are assuming that this target company is currently a listed company, which PE will acquire, make it a private company, will run it for certain number of years, and post that it will get listed again and pay off the debt and earn from the transaction. So let's say the company, the PE fund wishes to exit in 2026. This is the one ratio. This is the standard industry standard. That is the LBO debt capacity. That is the net debt by EBITDA. How much this number of times a company can take debt against its EBITDA, which it is so this is the figure. So it is we have assumed it is as a 6 in industry average of 6. Minimum cash flow which companies should maintain, like when a company generates some funds, obviously it's a PE firm, it will keep some fund, and since the PE firm has borrowed, it will pay off its debt. So before paying off the debt, certain minimum fund is to be kept for to run the company. So we have assumed 50. The PE firm expect the EBITDA multiple at the time of exit year, the rate at which the company will get it listed again post 3, 4, 5 years. Whenever the PE firm wants to take an exit, we have assumed that at the current EBITDA level, okay, and the PE firm is expecting at least 25% IRR from the given transaction. So here is the analysis of the same. Let's say the sales, as we have mentioned, is 6,000. So there's a revenue growth of 10%. Current EBITDA margin is similar, let's say 40%, and it remains consistent. The company's current free cash flow to debt, as stated, is 480 post the debt payment. We assume it remains the same in the coming years also, that is of the 8%. Company has current 100 rupees of cash and debt of 600, that is the net debt of 500. Company expect to maintain at least 50, as we have mentioned, the company will be keeping at least 50 at the year end. So, okay, this is actually the balancing figure coming from here. So then we work out on the debt schedule. Post that, the figures will be entered here to how the repayment schedule works. So for the debt schedule, as we have worked out that company can maximum buy 6 times of its EBITDA. So company will be borrowing 14,400 and needs to make an yearly installment of at least 1,000. So here with the company will be paying at least 1,000. This is an additional cash which company might pay. So here if we see the post payment of debt, this is post 1,000 payment, company still has 528, whereas the minimum requirement is of only 50. So obviously the company excess cash with the company has, they will pay it off the debt. So this is the optional pay down above minimum requirement. So the debt at the end of the year will be 12,822. That is the figure we have jotted down over here. We do this calculation till the expected exit period of the transaction. At the year end, we arrive at the implied EV. The implied EV will be the so here we have expected that in 2026, though we have projected for the next 3 years, we have considered the exit of 2026. So expected EBIT level, EBIT of 2026 multiplied by the expected EV by EBITDA multiple. Sorry, that is here. We have considered same for simplicity. We have considered as the same of the current year. So this is the implied equity value is implied equity is the enterprise value as on this exit period reduced by the debt as on the financial year 2026, the closing debt balance, and this is the maximum amount which the company needs to invest. So to finance we'll be generating the revenue of we'll be deploying the funds of 14,400 plus 6,080. This is the maximum. This is the own fund which the company with the PE firm has to invest, because the PE firm 100% it cannot take the loan at 100% and pay off the debt. There is to be certain margin is to be kept. This is that margin of 6,000 divided minus, so this is the company which company will have to pay the maximum which the company can pay to acquire and pay off. The company also needs to pay off the current debt of 500, because when the company acquires its debt also. So the company will have to pay the debt also in this. And if you can, the highest price that the company can pay as of now is 40 rupees. And the current rate, the current prevailing rate is 30 rupees. So the PE firm can execute the transaction. It has a premium of 33. Obviously, when the company offers exit to the current shareholder, they won't be expecting the current share. They expect some premium on it. So the company can maximum give a premium of 40 rupees if they want to gain an IRR of 25%. So this is how a LBO, that is leverage buyout model, is prepared and the analysis is done. Just a second. So the next is the consolidated model. In this, the entity which are having different subsidiaries or maybe associates, and the financial projections of those subsidiaries and associates are consolidated into one, so that the top level management can assess the financial performance of this company on a consolidated basis. So company A, company AB is in this, for example, company AB is a holding company consisting of two subsidiaries, that is company A and company B. And so the model is prepared so that, so the model is prepared where company A and company B is all the financial projections are consolidated. Here the presentation will look like this. Company A, company B. The model will over here will be company A, historical data because of company A, company B, and the merger and combined company, similar for the provisional as well for the projected years. Rest all the format remains the same. Main format remains the same, that is the balance sheet items, the profit and loss statement, balance sheet statement, and the cash flow statements. And based on that, the company can do the evaluations, the management can do the evaluations as they require. Last is budget model or variance model. This model helps company analyzing their current as well as the future financial performance, helps company in risk analysis, sensitive ratio analysis, all those, as I mentioned earlier, in what will be the risk if the sales is reduced or the raw material price increases, or the other employees cost gets increased, decreased, transportation cost gets affected. All those sensitivity analysis are be done. The analysis can be conducted on budget as well as actual, can be done on year-on-year basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, as per the requirement of the investors, as per the requirement of the management, as per the requirement of the users. So you can see these are the historical data which we have plugged. This is the budget financial 2021-2022, which management has prepared, against it what was the actual financial results which the company has achieved. Here we can see the sales budgeted was 9 lakhs, whereas the actual sales was 9,50,000. So company has has achieved its target, even have achieved more than its target. Whereas the cost of goods here is 6 lakhs, and obviously if the sales increases, the cost of COGS will also increase. Here it's 7 lakh. We'll have to do the analysis whether the gross profit margins are at what level. If we can see here, at 9 lakh, our gross profit was expected to be 2 lakh 70, whereas over here it is 2 lakh 50 against the sales of 9 lakh 50. So the company's GP has reduced. Similarly, if we consider, if we look, the employee cost has increased. There is some cost saving with respect to other expenses, but at the PAT level, the company's profitability margin has reduced. So This are the analysis. These are very basic analysis which are jotted down. The sales has increased year on year. Past historical growth was 25%, 20%. In the budget, we have expected it to grow 20%, but it has achieved 26%. But the gross margins has reduced drastically, which has come to 11.11%. So even the sales has increased, the margins are reduced. There could be various reasons for that. One of could be the supply chain disruptions due to which the cost price has increased and the management was not expecting such thing. So this could be the reason. This analysis, such type of analysis helps the management to evaluate what happened during the our budgeted, and between the budgeted and the actual, they can get into the crux. In the sales, here I have just jotted down the growth of the sales figure. This sales matrix, if the company has 3 products with a market share of, let's say, 50%, 20%, and 30%, but the actual figures might be different. So what was the difference? What has impacted the that difference? Whether what has that impact on the GP of this? Because of difference between the actual metrics and the budgeted metrics, what was the impact on the gross profit of the entity? Such sort of a detailed analysis is done. Similar GP margin, EBITDA, PAT margins, as well as for the data, creditors, inventory days, the balance sheet items, ICR ratios, return on equity investments, return on capital, all other financial ratios, break-even units, whether the company's break-even units has been changed because of the increase in the increase in the cost of goods sold. Such type of analysis is also performed in the model. So this was my presentation on the financial model. This was a very, very basic which we have gone through. The as I mentioned, the complexities changes depending upon the company. To anyone who is new to the financial model, you should start with the basic rather than directly going into the detailed and the complex models. Once you start with the basic financial model, and slowly you can upgrade yourself to the more complexity, where you can obviously, with the more better usage of Excel, the better results, better extractions of the data you can get. The discounting cash flow method. We all know that this method is a widely used method, in which and it's an income. It falls under the income approach, and without financial model, a valuer cannot use DCF model. Hence, we have kept this DCF model in along with the financial model to showcase the importance of financial model in the DCF valuation approach. So the DCF method, as the name suggests, is the discounting of the estimated cash flows earned from an assets. Sorry. So this is our DCF model. If you can see, the assumption, balance sheet, P&L, cash flows, all are required to do the DCF model over here. The three main important inputs for the DCF are: first is the free cash flow. The valuer has to arrive at the free cash flow. Second is the discount rate, the rate at which the future cash flow will be discounted to bring it to the present value, and the terminal value. We'll go to each of these inputs. First is the free cash flow. So, free cash flow is the cash earned by the company, which is available for the distributor, available for the distribution to the financer of the company, that is the equity holder or equity holder and debt finance. This cash flows is generated by the operating assets, that is revenue less all the expenses and the taxes paid, accounting for the funds required for capex and working capital. There are two types of free cash flows. But first is the free cash flow to the firm. The cash flows available to all the financiers of the company, that is debt as well as equity. As we can see in the table, FCFF, that is the free cash flow to firm, is arrived EBITDA less taxes, less reinvestments, that is the capex cost incurred, and less changes in working capital. It can also account for other long-term assets or like security deposits which might have to pay in futures. All those are also taken into the account. The what left is the what left to the firm is the cash flow, whole cash remaining. What left is the balance cash flows remaining for the whole company. It is used to arrive at the enterprise value, the value which an investor will have to pay if he want to acquire the company as a whole, including its debt and the cash and the other assets. The next cash flow is free cash flow to equity. This free cash flow to equity is, as seen in the table, can be arrived using FCFF, reducing the interest and the debt preference dividend. This preference dividend is in case if the company has raised any preference shares, repayment of borrowings, repayment of loans. It also includes if the company is expecting to raise some funds. If you are arriving at the FCFE, those are also taken into the account. With this too, we arrive at the FCFF and FCFE. We will see here in the DCF model how we have arrived at. Here we have arrived at FCFE model because the company, you can see the company is paying off its debt in future. That is in 2023-24. There is no debt. There's no short-term borrowings that the company is. If a company is expecting to keep a target debt to equity ratio, company the valuer needs to use FCFF, that is the free cash flow to firm model. In cases that the company debt to target ratio is 0, when it's paying off all this debt, the company is best if a company use FCFE. So here we can see these are the sales figures. These are just I have kept for the presentation purpose. This is the EBITDA of the projected years, EBITDA margin, reduced by the interest and the taxes which the company will pay. You can see we have not reduced the depreciation because it's a non-cash item, so it does not impact our cash inflows or outflow. So with this, we have arrived at the expected cash inflow. Here we have now we have to reduce the change in working capital, the funds deployed for the working capital, for the capex, for the debt repayment. So we can see here the company's working capital. The working capital should be except for cash and borrowings. For current assets, we don't have to consider the cash impact, and for the current liabilities, we don't have to consider the borrowings. So if we can see the current assets, this is the total less the cash, current liabilities. Sorry, there's a typo in this. Yeah. Total current liabilities less borrowings. This is the net working capital and the change in net working capital. This is the excess fund over the year we have company has deployed in its working capital. The funds is blocked in it. So we reduce it. This is the capex cost which the company will incur over the period of time. We have considered it as a 5,000 over the period of time. And the companies, as I mentioned, the company in 23-24 is expecting to pay off its debt. With this, we have arrived at the total cash flow and net cash flows. This is the net cash flow inflow which the company is expecting over the period of time at FCFE level. For the now the next part is the discounting rate. Discounting rate is the expected market return, rate of return, which a market participant might expect if they are investing in a similar asset, an asset which has a similar risk, similar advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons. Considering all those factors, the expected return which a market participant expects, the rate would not only, as I mentioned, the rate would not only reflect the time value of the money, but would also consider risk inherent in the asset and risk inherent in achieving the future cash flows. Since there are different sources of funds, the cost of each source of fund is different. First, we'll be discussing about the cost of equity. The cost of equity is derived using a CAPM model, that is the capital asset pricing model. Here, risk-free, that is the RF, which is risk-free return. Generally, a 10-year government bond rate is used for that. Then comes RM, that is the expected market return, followed by the beta. Beta here is the sensitivity of the company's sector with respect to the market movement. It analyzes how will the stock moves, how is the stock of those particular sector in which the company is, or if a company is a listed company, then how are its stock movements move as reactive, how it is reactive to the index or the market. So that is the beta. And the alpha is a company is if the company is having any specific risk, like in the startup, the risk is of achieving the sales, achieving the gathering the team, employees team as projected in the financial projections. All those risks which are not the market risk, not the sectoral risk, but a very company specific risk is stated in alpha. So with this cost of equity, RF plus beta, RM minus RF, that is the excess return which an investor gains from the market, plus alpha gives us the cost of equity. Cost of debt is simple, that is interest which a company is paying off, finance cost, reduced by the tax benefit which it gains, obviously when as a deduction. So here we can see since it's an FCFE model. One more thing, if a company is using FCFE, it has to use cost of equity. If a company is using FCFF, then the valuer has to use WACC, that is weighted average cost of capital. That will be based on the current ratio of the equity and the debt, current value of the equity and the debt as on the date of valuation. The weights are taken on those bases, and WACC is arrived. So we can see I have, based on market and since it's a startup, I have arrived at a 17%. This is how the discount is done. And the cash flows are bring it to the present value. That is the current value. These are the cash flows which will be earning in the future. With the help of discounting factors, we bring it to the present value. And the third part, that is the terminal value. So management or a consultant will only be able to provide for a limited number of projections for a very limited number of years. But a company is a running company. Post the explicit year, that is the 5 years. If a management has prepared a 5-year projections, the company will be still running post that year. So the terminal value help us to unlock the value of the company post the projected years. In terminal value, when we arrive at the terminal, we have to make sure that the company's revenue are normalized. So let's say in a startup, if a startup is growing at a rate of supposedly 5x in the sales or EBITDA margin in the first year is, let's say, 5x. In the second, it's still 5x. It increases to 6x, then reduces to 4x. But it still haven't normalized. Normalized, I mean to say, is when a company return or the company growth is with level to the growth of the economy or below that. Post that only we can use the terminal value, or our picture would be very incorrect. Hence, one needs to normalize these projections if a company is able to forecast only for 5 years. But on the 5th year, also the company's growth is, let's say, 5x or 4x. Then we don't need to make these detailed projections for the next 5 years or 6 years, up to the it gets marginalized. But based on those projected figures only, we can reduce those sales figures, reduce those marginal growths. When I mean to say reduce, I mean to say the growth level we need to reduce. We need to normalize it, and post that we can use the terminal value. To arrive at the terminal value, we use the Gordon growth model. So we can see here, many times valuer uses the last explicit years FCFE and apply growth. I prefer to arrive at the using the top down a little bit of detailed working, that is the sales growth, EBITDA, expected EBITDA. For here, we can either use industry standard, assuming that the company over the period will reach to the industry standard, or if we feel that the company has some advantages or maybe is having some disadvantages, we can use those EBITDA margins depending upon the scenarios. Here, we have used the EBITDA margin as arrived here as the last year of the company, explicit year. Okay, the taxes are 25.17%. We have arrived at the cash flow. We have the expected change in working capital which will be requiring. So I have on the pro rata basis, I have used the percentage of the previous year to the sales. Similar for the capex, so it gives the idea that to achieve consistent growth, we need to deploy some capex, and we'll be having we'll be getting the deduction for the capex over the period of time by depreciation. So capex less tax benefits together, we get the cost out cash outflow. And here we arrive at the net cash flow. This cash flow we have arrived is for the year, let's say 27, but we'll be using it for the terminal year. So using the Gordon growth method, that is the cash divided by the discounting factor minus growth, we arrive at the terminal value. We bring the terminal value to the present value, that is over here. and combining all, we get the equity value of 22,97,000. Suppose that we can account for this. If your company is not a listed company, if it's a startup, we need to, which is not a listed, so we need to adjust for the illiquidity, lack of marketability. So approx thumb rule is of around 20%, and post that we can arrive at the fair value of equity value. If we are using FCFF, the model, the workings remain the same. We don't account for the debt repayment. We don't account for the interest payment. Here, the discounting factor I have used, that is of that is the cost of equity. We have to consider the cost of debt also, based on the 20 current, targeted debt to equity ratio, which the management feels, which the industry standard is. We assign the variables to them, and we arrive at the WACC. This WACC is used as discounting factor, through which the cash flows are then discounted to arrive at the present value. The terminal value is also discounted at the same discounting factor reduced by the growth to arrive at the and using the discounting factor, we arrive at the present value. The total of this will be an enterprise value, okay, value of a company as a whole. We reduce it, then to arrive at equity, we reduce it. We reduce the debt, outstanding debt as on the date. We add the cashback, and if there is any non-operating assets, we account for those. Let's say the company has made any investments, and in the sales, in the EBITDA margin, we have not accounted for the income which we might accept from the from that asset. We account for those, and we arrive at the equity value. We use the discounted lack of marketability or illiquidity. We give a discount of 20%, and we arrive at the equity value. So that's it for the today's presentation. Just one thing I would like to end it with. One thing I want to end it is that the valuation is about the stories. It is not about the numbers. So the financial model, though, is important. The assumptions of those financial models, how those assumptions are arrived, what all market data, from which market data you have fed, and what story is the investor, is the management, is sorry, not the investor, is the founder, is the management building. The valuation is all about the story. If anyone recall this character, it's of Ajay Devgan from Once Upon a Time in Mumbai. If I can, in the current scene, Ajay Devgan's approaches Kangana Ranawat, and he wanted to gift him something expensive, but he cannot find anything nearby which is expensive. So he goes to the fruit vendor and asks for this fruit. The vendor says it is of 25 paise. Since it was in those days, it was has said it's a 25 paise. Then since he wanted to buy an expensive, he makes a story. What if all of the fruit is sold, and this is the last fruit of the day? How much will be sold for me? And he said that 1 rupee. Then he built up another story that what if there is no other fruit in the whole country? What will be the value of this fruit you'll be keeping? So he said 2 rupees. Then he goes into the saying, building up the story, and at the end, if he says that what if the Adam has eaten fruit, this fruit, exact this fruit, instead of an apple, then the vendor has given the value of paid to be 400 rupees. So the fruit remains the same, but what has changed in this value is because of the story. So whenever we do the valuation, we have to make sure that the story, that the assumptions which the management gives us are appropriate or not. Thank you for patient listening.
Wonderful insights. Valuation always lies in the eye of the beholder, but the professional has to push and see that one gets the best valuation, fair valuation, quality valuation, and valuation should hopefully enhance over a period of time. Of course, based on the cycles of the global business environment and use latest technology. Wonderful insights. Vikas?
Yeah, Manoj, how are you?
You on valuation cycles, what Ajay Devgan's wants and what technology can provide. And then we have Prakash Valecha, who will share his insights on global business environment in international perspectives and pastel. Yeah, Vikas, what do you?
Yeah, Manoj. So Manoj, मैंने कोई preparation तो नहीं करी है. I means like but whatever I have my own experiences वो मैं share करता हूँ. So I am running my NBFC. In that we are lending to SMEs. और उसमें हम like it's a startup we have started in 2019 और अभी उसमें हमने भी एक वैल्यूएशन हुआ, हमारा PE फंड आया. तो एक रियल एग्जांपल में वैल्यूएशन जो है, अभी वैल्यूएशंस के लिए एक तो मर्चेंट बैंकर से वैल्यूएशन करवाना होता है और एक अपना रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर से करवाना होता है, राइट. चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स भी आजकल रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर रहते हैं, दे आल्सो डू द वैल्यूएशन. और एक DCF जो मेथड है जो RV गौरांग शाह ने बताया, वो एक बहुत एक I mean उसमें ही सब ज्यादातर वैल्यूएशंस होते हैं. और एज ही मेंशन कि वैल्यूएशन स्टोरी बेस्ड होता है. एक स्टोरी अगर अच्छी है तो उसके ऊपर एक अच्छा वैल्यूएशन होता है नंबर से ज्यादा. तो हमने भी हमारा वैल्यूएशन करवाया, लीगल ड्यू डिलिजेंस हुआ एंड फाइनेंशियल ड्यू डिलिजेंस हुआ. एंड आफ्टर दैट दिनेश जी, मेरी इंग्लिश में भी बोलूंगा, साथ में हिंदी में मेरा ज्यादा अच्छा एक्सपर्टीज है, तो आप साथ में बेयर कीजिए इसको लेके जी. सॉरी मनोज.
Can do both. Yeah, carry on. We can do both.
हाँ. तो फाइनेंशियल एंड लीगल ड्यू डिलिजेंस ये दोनों ही होता है. उसी के बेसिस के ऊपर अपना लीगली कंप्लायंसेज वगैरह को सबको जानना होता है कंपनी के बारे में. एंड उनकी प्रोडक्ट क्या है, बिजनेस मॉडल क्या है, कंपनी के प्रोमोटर्स कौन है, एंड उनका क्या बैकग्राउंड है. एंड सबसे मेन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है बिजनेस मॉडल. बिजनेस मॉडल आपका कैसा नया प्रोजेक्शंस कैसे होने वाला है, कैसे आप ग्लोबल मार्केट में कॉम्पीट करने वाले हैं, उन सबको समझते हुए ये अपना एक बिजनेस मॉडल डेवलप करके और उस हिसाब से फिर अपना फाइनेंशियल मॉडलिंग होती है और वैल्यूएशंस अराइव होते हैं. एंड फिर उसके हिसाब से जो भी अपना स्टेक सेल परचेज वगैरह है उसके हिसाब से अपना आगे बढ़ते हैं. मैं थोड़ा मेरा NBFC में कुछ फिनटेक्स वगैरह के साथ में एक एसोसिएशन रहता है, तो फिनटेक्स कैसे काम करती हैं तो मैं उस पर थोड़ा बात करूंगा. टेक्नोलॉजी एक दो तरह के, कोई भी स्टार्टअप दो तरह से चलती है, टेक इनेबल्ड और एक टेक लेड प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं. तो टेक इनेबल प्लेटफॉर्म जिसमें टेक्नोलॉजी केवल आपको एक सपोर्ट के लिए काम आती है, और टेक लेड जो अपनी स्टार्टअप्स होते हैं उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन ही होता है सब कुछ. मतलब जहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजी के से ही सब स्टार्ट टू एंड एवरीथिंग विल रन बेस्ड ऑन द टेक्नोलॉजी. सो अपने फिनटेक्स में स्पेसिफिकली जो अभी एक तो बाई नाउ पे लेटर का आपने नाम सुना होगा, BNPL, सो दैट इज वर्किंग वेरी वेल. एंड फिर एम्बेडेड फाइनेंस जो है, जैसे आप अमेजोन पे लेटर है, रूपीफाई है, मिंटीफाई है, दे आर आल्सो वर्किंग इनटू अमेजोन आई मीन एम्बेडेड फाइनेंस. देन SME में जो है सप्लाई चेन फाइनेंस में एक फिनटेक्स अच्छा काम कर रही है. देन रेवेन्यू बेस्ड फाइनेंस है जो रेवेन्यू बेस्ड के बेसिस पे मर्चेंट कैश एडवांसेज वगैरह दैट दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग. सो फिनटेक्स जनरली जैसे जिनका कुछ NBFC बैक्ड रहती है और कुछ विदाउट NBFC बैक्ड रहती है. आई मीन आपको अपना मीन्स लाइक कोई कंसल्टेंट है या कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी को जानता है, वो अपना एक फिनटेक स्टार्ट करना चाहता है, तो दे स्टार्ट दिस फिनटेक कंपनी. सो इन दैट लाइक अब मैं इसमें फिनटेक में भी 3 जो मेन मॉडल्स हैं. एक तो पेमेंट बैंक हैं जो पेमेंट्स के अंदर अपन और दूसरा है अपना लेंडिंग में है, और तीसरा इंश्योरेंस में है. मैं लेंडिंग पे थोड़ा बात करूंगा. लेंडिंग में 2 तरह के मॉडल रहते हैं. एक तो सर्विस प्रोवाइडर टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म्स रहते हैं, और एक बिजनेस पार्टनर्स रहते हैं. सर्विस प्रोवाइडर में जनरली वो अपने एक तो सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज होती हैं जो सॉफ्टवेयर में अपनों को टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड करती हैं, एंड दूसरा होता है जो अपनों को डील्स वगैरह सोर्स करके देती हैं. तो डील सोर्सिंग और उसका एक बेसिक अंडरराइटिंग का वर्क जो है वो लोग करते हैं. और बिजनेस पार्टनर करके जो आते हैं, दैट दे डू इनटू दे आल्सो डू अंडरराइटिंग, एंड फिर रिकवरी में भी हमारी हेल्प करते हैं, एंड ओवरऑल ऑपरेशंस में भी मैनेज करते हैं. ऐसा उनका काम रहता है. इनका FLDG बैक्ड मॉडल भी रहता है, फर्स्ट लॉस्ट डिपॉजिट गारंटी. तो FLDG मॉडल में वो FLDG अगर बैक्ड रहता है तो NBFCs को और FIs को वो FLDG प्रोवाइड करते हैं. एंड कुछ नॉन FLDG भी रहता है जहाँ पे जो रिस्क होता है, कंप्लीट रिस्क NBFC या फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन या लेंडर का होता है. तो इन 2 मॉडल्स में जनरली वो लोग काम करते हैं. FLDG में FD एज ए फिक्स डिपॉजिट भी दिया जाता है, और कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी भी रहती है. तो जब भी हम एज ए NBFC किसी फिनटेक के साथ में डील करते हैं, तो वी आल्सो सी हु इज द फाउंडर्स, और कौन एज ए उनकी क्या नेटवर्थ है, अपने स्टार्टअप की क्या नेटवर्थ है एज ए फिनटेक, और उनका क्या बिजनेस मॉडल है, और क्या रिस्क उसमें हो सकती है. इन सबको हमको ध्यान में रखते हुए हम उन फिनटेक के साथ में डील करते हैं. उनके क्या NPAs हैं, और कब से वो परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, वैसा वो सब समझते हुए हम उनके साथ डील करते हैं. तो मैं उसमें कुछ जनरली जो किनमें रिस्क कम होती है, जिनमें एस्क्रो बैक्ड जहाँ पे रिकवरी होती है, वहां पे उनकी थोड़ी रिस्क कम रहती है. सप्लाई चेन फाइनेंस में इसलिए अच्छा आज की अपना जो क्रेडिबल करके एक प्लेटफॉर्म है, दे आर आल्सो डूइंग वेरी गुड. एंड उड़ान कैपिटल है, अगर आपने नाम सुना होगा, तो उड़ान कैपिटल इज आल्सो डूइंग वेरी गुड. एंड एक डील सोर्सिंग के अंदर क्रेडिट इनेबल करके प्लेटफॉर्म है, दे आर आल्सो डूइंग गुड. एंड रेवेन्यू बेस्ड फाइनेंस में गेट वांटेज करके है, दे आर डूइंग. एंड कंज्यूमर लोन्स और BNPL में क्रेडिट फेयर है, they are also, and ePay later hai, they are also doing good. So there are many good platforms now, so who are helping these NBFCs and lenders to get the good business, and also helping into recovery and operations. ठीक है मनोज, ये मैंने थोड़ा फिनटेक के बारे में बताना था. If you want me to add something more.
Yes, wonderful insights. We'll have much more from you in the coming conclaves. A deep dive as usual. You have deep insights, lots of experience in startups, technology, and doing lots of things way forward. Prakash?
Yes, sir.
Are you here?
Good afternoon to all of you all the participants.
You have indeed global experience. I remember you mentioning you were in Mauritius for a long time, and Mauritius is known for tax treaties. Yes. And tracking global developments very closely. And we have seen recently lots of global developments every day, yes, including conversations between the presidents of US and China, which are just happening. Russia, Ukraine, India, you know, all this impact business and corporations worldwide, trade, economic, manufacturing, and a fight for increasing GDP and growth rates. So let's do a deep dive. The global international business environment, and what companies need to do, countries needs to do to be competitive, and various models used for understanding business environment.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Manoj, CA Manoj. I would like to start with a quiz, and before that, I will like to play a video. So please allow me to Please, yeah, thank you, Manoj. I would like to start with a quiz and a video. So first I'll play the video, then I'll do the quiz, and then I'll show the PPT. So, okay, allow me to share the screen. I'll play a video on India.
Yeah, it's already done. So shared.
Yes, I'll play the video now. Yes, yes. So. Amazing India. Yeah, we'll play this video, and thereafter we will take a quiz from the audience. Yes. So, yeah. No sound. Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
Valecha, I would just share, India is today the fastest growing economy in the world, not second.
Indeed, indeed.
Overtaken all the other countries. And second, India is number 4 in global market cap and fourth in GDP in purchasing power parity, and moving ahead, much ahead. And also from 4 to 3 to 2 should happen sooner than anybody expects. Yeah.
Thank you, Manoj. It was a great, optimistic statement from you. Can I start a quiz if all the participants would, would like to, I'll be happy if you have an interactive session. So I would request all of you all to participate in the quiz. I'll take an impromptu quiz on our country and what Manoj said also. There are 8 planets in this solar system in which we live that we know about, and we all live on Earth. How many countries are there on Earth that we have created, human beings have created?
203.
192.
192. Okay, and 203 and 196. Okay, anything more?
223.
UN ka figure hai?
Yeah.
How much is that? UN is stating 195. So very nice. More or less, you all are near to the target. How many people live on this planet in this 195 countries?
7 billion.
100 crore.
Okay, 750 crores is correct. Well, this figure is more or less accurate. The number of countries is, even UN is stating we might have few more countries along the way. In this 195 countries, 750 crore people, what is the world GDP? We are chartered.
27 trillion.
A lot of us belong to the finance area. Yes, but yes, sir?
27 trillion.
27 trillion. Sir, US is 21 trillion.
Okay,
Any
so
approximate guess? It will make us understand how the world in which we are living is unequally distributed. So what is the, yes, so yes, Bakul, appreciate. Bakul says 80 trillion, Gaurang says 84 trillion. Yes, more or less, you're right. 1/4 is US out of the $84 trillion. The world's largest GDP goes to US, and that is 21 trillion. As we analyze, and I would like to ask you only, you will understand how the world is living today so unequally. So which is the world's largest GDP? We discussed it's US, it's 21 trillion out of 84. So what does that indicate? 1 out of 4 rupees in the world belongs to an American. Right? So, that's how the world is today. Out of 195 countries, look how the balanced smaller countries will have hardly anything left. Which is the second largest GDP in the world?
China.
China, yes, correct. China is how much?
10.
10. Yeah, any more guesses? Bakul, 8.
I thought 16.
11. Yes, Gaurang, 12. Yeah, it has reached about $13 trillion. And how much is India when we compare ourselves with China?
3.
2.5.
Not even 3. So that is why it is making so much noise at the border. When you get little money and you have come out of poverty, you disturb other countries, and that is what China is doing to us today at the border, which is not acceptable. And we are using their products rampantly on a daily basis, right? The phones that you are having in your hand today is mostly Chinese, made in which country? China, right? So China is ahead. So 21 trillion is US, 13 is China, 34 out of 84 gone, which is the third largest GDP in the world. We'll go up to 6. Uske baad
Japan.
mujhe aata hai.
Japan.
Japan is how much?
$6 trillion.
So Japan is anybody else?
8 trillion.
हमें जापान को क्रॉस करना है. IMF, UN says India ऊपर आएगा, India आगे जाएगा. But Japan है कितना आज? With 12 crore people, Japan has produced how much GDP? No? We keep talking, we want to reach that figure. What is that? Yes, Venugopal, 5. We are 5. Japan is 5 trillion. A small country like Japan has, with 12 crore people, has reached 5 trillion. It's number 3. So 21 plus 13, 34 plus 5 is Japan. 34 plus 5 gets $39 trillion. 39 trillion. That's 3 countries take away 39 trillion out of 84, which is the 4th largest GDP in the world.
UK?
UK बाद में आएगा. एक और country है that is rich. It's
Germany.
in Europe.
Italy.
Germany.
Germany. Germany is how much? $4 trillion. So 39 plus 4 is 43. You can imagine we have crossed the halfway figure of the world GDP in 4 countries. So बाकी countries के लिए क्या बचेगा? How are we living on this planet with so much of inequality? We have to work hard to, globally in the geopolitical area, to move forward. So that gets 39 plus 4, $43 trillion. And Germany has only 8 crore people. They have produced $4 trillion worth of goods and services, which is the 5th largest GDP in the world. India. Akul. Mera Bharat Mahan. And then 6th largest? UK, correct. So 3 trillion pakad sakte hain mota mota. That makes it 6 trillion. So you can imagine 39 plus 4 was Germany. So 43 plus 6, 50 trillion gone. Now 50 trillion out of 84 is huge figure. Is life fair?
Almost 50% population also been covered, no?
Yeah, between 2 countries of China and India, you can say we are about 3 trillion people, 3 billion people. So we are about 300 crore hai out of 750 crores. Either hai. So is life fair?
It is certainly, and it is dynamic. It changes on a daily basis.
Yeah. This is how people live in the world. Balance, how many countries bach gaye? Out of 6 countries I have taken only. So around 190 countries will get $30 trillion. 34 trillion, yeah, around 50 trillion humne le liya. Baki 190 countries will get about $35 trillion.
There are so many new small countries, no? So
yes, true. They are small countries.
Go by person, the GDP.
True, but then you didn't count EU. EU comprises of 26 countries that have a single, currency called euro. Are we richer than
Surely it would be.
Yes or no? Are we richer? Is India richer?
Yes, I think.
Is India richer than Europe?
Per capita, yes, it should be.
Yes, Narendra ji, you're right. But then it's a contradiction. Are we richer than all the 25 countries barring Germany? Are we richer? Yes, we are.
Yes.
Are we richer? No. Are we really rich? No. Why we are not rich, as Narendra said? Per capita is less because of the bulging population. Yes, Shiva Prasad also says that. So this is a contradiction that we have to manage. We are rich, yet we are poor. Section 135 CSR acknowledges in black and white in Schedule 7, point 1, that spend the CSR money on, first point under Schedule 7 is to eradicate hunger and poverty. This is written in company law in black and white. So the government is actually acknowledging in the company law under Schedule 7, under Section 135, that there is hunger and poverty in India. Yet we are the 5th richest country in the world, and we hope to become number 3, overtaking Germany and Japan in the next 10 years. IMF says that that's a reality that is coming. So often you will hear Mukesh Ambani or the Prime Minister or top industrialists talking, India will become a $5 trillion GDP very soon. Why will we become $5 trillion GDP? Why other countries will not overtake us? And why India will race ahead? What is the reason you all think that India will move ahead?
Young population.
Young population, demographics is good. What else will take India ahead? This young demographics will buy LG, Samsung, cars, houses, jewelry, juta, kapra, everything they will buy. What will that create?
Consumption.
Consumption and growth.
Make in India.
Yeah. So this this factor makes everybody look up to India. यार India आगे जाएगा, जरूर जाएगा आगे India. We will do well. There's no two doubts about it. And we hope that India overtakes, very soon we should overtake Japan. We should overtake Germany and Japan. We will grow faster than them. There is no doubt. But over the next 10 years, we are expecting to overtake them. Not immediately, but certainly yes, because Japan is aging, older population. Germany is saturated. So India has to move ahead. And the role of financial sector, finance areas is important. So there is going to be a lot of work in the finance. When sales grow, you need CAs. Even when the economy grows, you need finance. So that is where we hope that the ICI ka slogan jo hai. What is ICI slogan? We are partners in. ICI is partner in dash. What is it? Partner in, often it comes in our motor song, you will get
Nation
it.
building.
Nation building. ये करना होगा. Yes, विकास जी. Indeed, आगे जाना होगा. India को ऊपर आना होगा. Right? World is unevenly distributed. बहुत लोगों के पास पैसा नहीं है. This war between Ukraine and Russia also, they are using, aircrafts that cost $50,000 per hour flying, these fighter jets. And they are fighting with most sophisticated weapons to most of the people who live on less than $5 per day. Huge nations fight, but what are they fighting with? They are fighting with great weapons, missiles that cost millions and millions of dollars. They are bursting on each other to a population that earns hardly $5 per day and spends $5 per day globally. Many of the people are like that, including in India. The world is unevenly distributed, and as I rightly said, when we see the world, there are many people who don't have 2 meals a day. There are people who have so much of wealth that they cannot digest the food that they can buy. So indeed, life is fair. Manoj says life is fair. Agreed? Do we agree life is fair?
The attitude has to be changed.
Life is fair, right? How many of us will agree life is fair? Can you put in the chat, or we'll agree with Manoj, life is fair? Is life fair?
The winners always say life is fair, and for losers there is opportunity to be winners. That's what life is.
Yes, Manoj sir, I'm with you. Life is fair, but anybody saying life is unfair? No, okay. So I think nobody is saying is answering that. life is fair. True, as Manoj rightly said it. Life is fair because who runs this universe?
Situations may or may not be fair, but life is fair. Be a winner. We can make it
Yes.
convert the situation. It takes time, perseverance, patience.
Yeah, see, Manoj, you're right, totally. I think this answer is also very good. Bakul ne kaha, Hare Krishna. Who runs this universe? God runs this universe. And many times with children, I ask after the result, khas karke, when they have come out of the CA exam, is life fair? And they will say, no, life is not fair. And they have failed, and in spite of working very hard. So, who runs this universe is certainly a question we need to introspect. And as stated, God runs this universe. Is God fair? Yes. Otherwise, why do we go and pray to him? Do we pray to a God who is unfair? No, life is fair. God is fair. But we see a lot of inequality. I worked in South Africa, where Manoj sir, I can tell you, the rich countries
Not be fair.
the rich countries of the world.
And economy will not be fair. But the dynamic situation is there. India is growing at the fastest pace, and the best quality and talent is in India and from India.
So when we see the world, when we see the universe, we will see unfairness. What we perceive as unfairness. The richest countries of the world where I have worked have been Africa, with the most poorest, malnourished people of the world. South Africa, I have lived all the three cities of Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban, where Mahatma Gandhi lived also. This country is rich with natural resources like gold, diamonds. De Beers operates in Johannesburg. I have met those officials. And the blacks are the ones who wear the cap with the light, and they go inside the earth, get the diamonds out. And hardly anybody, rarely, I think I can safely say, nobody will wear diamonds on the streets of Durban and Joburg and Cape Town, because there is crime. Impossible for anybody to wear a highly expensive piece of jewelry. Certainly the richest countries are the poorest people in the world. If I see Europe, which London, I have always felt, kya climate hai? In winter you get raat ka 9 baje, aise lagta hai, when I used to go to work in the morning, I used to see dark clouds. It's a fickle climate, unfertile soil, no amount of gold or natural resources or iron or nickel or crude oil is found in UK. But the prices of the same are determined every day on the London Stock Exchange. At some point of time in history, not very far away, UK controlled 2/3 of the world, including US, Africa, India, China, Far East. Of course, Hong Kong, they had a fight. Hong Kong was still given to them till 1997. Australia still belongs to the Queen, so is Canada. Indeed, there is unfairness as we perceive it. But certainly, we cannot understand the universe. But we can certainly understand that God runs this universe. And there is unfairness which we perceive. But I can only conclude stating that let us understand that we cannot understand the Creator. But He is fair. With that limited intellect, we can understand. Where does the sun rise from?
East.
East. And by the time we go to the beach in the evening, where does the sun set?
West.
West. Can we say that sun rises from the east and sets into the west? Can we say that?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody, yes. Does the sun move from east to west?
No, we move actually.
Earth moves.
Earth.
Yeah, Earth moves. Right.
Okay, agreed. So, but I never saw the earth moving. I only saw the sun moving. So that's why when Vikas said that it's sun rises from the east to west, true. Is that true? Yes and no. These are contradictions. I never saw the earth moving. But did the sun rise?
Yes.
Yes. Does the sun ever rise? If the earth is moving, does the sun ever rise? No. Will the sun set?
No.
When the sun doesn't rise, how it will set? It is the earth that is moving. That is what we believe in scientists. So we can say that. But on a plane that we are living on earth, like ordinary mortals, we don't perceive that. We perceive sun is moving. Sunrise hua, east mein sunrise hua, west mein sunset. Chalo Jubi, chalo bandstand. Sunset dikhte hain. Beautiful sunset dikhai dega. Chalo sunset dikhte hain. We use these terms, sunrise, sunset. In fact, there is no sunrise. There is no sunset. But that is because we believe in the scientist. With our naked eyes, we feel the sun is moving. Indeed, the world also is like that. Situations are like that globally. And we live in a world that is beyond our comprehension. We feel things happening, but I often feel we live in illusions. We don't understand. हमें CA नहीं समझ में आता है, हमें income tax और GST नहीं समझ में आता है. दुनिया कैसे समझ में आएगी? Itna complicated solar system. See the beautiful stars. See how in the night yesterday night I saw a beautiful full moon. Then I realized, oh, it is Holi. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthday. It has to be a beautiful, full moon, right? And it was so lovely, right? The earth moves perfectly in perfection. There is some power, even if we don't believe in God, there is some power that is moving it perfectly correct, right? We certainly live in a world that is fair, which is run by the creator. We will see a lot of inequalities. Cannot understand why London was closed when George was born. William ka beta hai George. Day one. Cannot understand why people are born on the streets and millions of cars race through them. Or at least, in Mumbai, hundreds of thousands of cars are moving up and down. And there are so many people living on the streets, on the footpath. And there are people who do not even observe them. And they have done nothing wrong. But when certain prince is born, the whole country is closed. So certainly, we live in a world that is, we cannot beyond our comprehension. I'll just, very briefly, I have to run till 1 o'clock, right, Manoj? So I'll just, okay, I'll just run this international business. And we'll talk about India. We'll talk about
about 1:30.
But
Can we have
no, it's okay. Okay, I prepared for 1 hour. Nevertheless, we can take few queries. So this is how the world ranks as we spoke. Sorry, it's India is number 6, but we should overtake India. India should overtake UK by April. I'm just waiting for the statistics to be upgraded, and India has grown faster than UK. So we should be number 5. And the world GDP, as rightly said, is $84 trillion. आप देखो काफी सारे लोग, in fact, even there's no doubt India is richer than Europe. All the 25 countries, barring Germany, that use the euro, India is richer. हम really बहुत मेहनत करते हैं. हम लोग अपना गाड़ी बनाते हैं, ट्रेन बनाते हैं, roads बनाते हैं, cranes बनाते हैं, products बनाते हैं. But yet we are lagging behind, there is no doubt, in terms of per capita. But India is a great country that makes many things. In fact, to begin with this quiz also, and to conclude the quiz, one question comes in our minds. Why is it that we are so many people, 138 crores, 135 crores, whatever census figure you want to catch. In Bombay itself is 2 crores. Why we have not produced a large GDP? ऐसी क्या गलती हो गई है हमसे? क्योंकि मदर अर्थ है, मदर अर्थ में गोल्ड है, डायमंड्स है, आयरन ओर है, क्या जीडीपी बनता है? नहीं. जीडीपी जब बनेगा जब लोग होंगे, राइट? दैट्स व्हाई कनाडा सेज, ओ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है, आ जाओ. ऑस्ट्रेलिया सेज, सीए हो, आ जाओ. Come to our country, become the citizen of our country. Around 2,000 Indian CAs are there now in Australia. More than 2,000 Indian CAs. Why they want educated people? Because GDP badega. Why India with so many 135 crores? Why we have not produced a large GDP? Where is the fallacy that India has, committed? Yeah, any since 1900. ये अभी हमारा फॉल्ट है, ब्रिटिश का फॉल्ट निकल गया. वो चले गए, उन्होंने लूटा हमको, गलत किया, ठीक है, but we cannot harp on that. There is the
corruption, and
that has corruption is there in many countries. Africa is more corrupt than India.
Selfishness.
Yes. Which else?
Selfishness, matlab individual. We are thinking individualistic.
Well, frankly speaking, America is more materialistic and selfish. Indians are generally dharmic, and the CSR karte nahi hai. CSR Bill Gates and rich people have done. That is what his research is telling us. But there are hands. There are, human beings. And GDP banta hai logon se, not with the earth. Why India with 135 crore, itne sare haath pair hai. 135 crore haath pair hai. क्यों नहीं काम हुआ? क्यों नहीं GDP बना?
Political will.
Political will is one. This. Where else? Yeah, this is somewhat correct. Kept us backward in education. Yes, ये आप कह सकते हो, पढ़ाई नहीं करते हैं. Are we really educated? With 138 crores, we have only 3 lakh CAs. Yeah, अच्छी बात है. 8 lakh doctors. What is the reason? Is India's education system good? Is our system good?
No.
No. Anybody?
Else? Is one of the best.
Both are right answers. India produces the best education in the world. And India has the most poor quality education in rural India. बढ़ेगा इंडिया
तो बढ़ेगा इंडिया,
तो बढ़ेगा अमेरिका. गूगल, ट्विटर, पेप्सी, IMF, ये हम चलाते हैं. लेकिन जो तालीम बच्चों को देते हैं हम, उनके सपने पूरे नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि the dreams have to be nipped in the bud because the quality of education given in the rural areas is very poor. India is educated, yes and no. India respects women, yes and no. India is the only country that respects women in the world, but in the temples, not on the streets. So many times I feel contradictions हैं. India में खास करके वो contradictions हैं. We have to understand them. But now we'll talk globally on finance part, and we'll talk. कहाँ है गलती, कहाँ हो गई? हमने पढ़ाई नहीं करी. Top education थोड़े लोगों को दिया है हमने. 3 लाख CA बने हैं, 8 लाख डॉक्टर बने हैं खाली इंडिया में, out of 138 crores. I think यूक्रेन में 20,000 डॉक्टर्स जाके पढ़ाई करते हैं. आप देखिए क्या हो रहा है. इंडिया का टॉप एजुकेशन सिस्टम वर्ल्ड क्लास है. जो इंडिया के डॉक्टर्स हैं, यूक्रेन के डॉक्टर्स को वे अहेड छोड़ के जाएंगे. The best doctors will be Indian that work in America, and they will have studied from KEM Hospital, JJ Hospital, from Mumbai, and at government expense. India's education is really very good. It's top class, yet it is very bad. That is one area that takes us behind and brings 1 crore jobs are needed because the young demographics of our country will ask for jobs. यूपी इलेक्शन अभी हुआ, मेन मुद्दा था कि आप हमको काम दो, बेरोजगारी है. Why? 16 lakh graduates graduate from UP alone, and over 1 crore youngsters come to the job market in India year on year, year after year. Where are the jobs? Not for CAs. CAs will get jobs. ये तो वादा है. All CAs will get jobs. ये तो promise है. ICI का भी promise है. You may not like your job. वो another story है. आप परेशान होते हैं, जॉब मजा नहीं आ रहा है, वो एक अलग बात है. लेकिन आपको जॉब मिलेगा. But 1 crore people के लिए मैं नहीं कह सकता. इंडिया के लिए नहीं कह सकता. 18 साल के हो जाते हैं, काम पे आ जाते हैं. Graduates आ जाते हैं. हमें काम दो. To create jobs, we need to have startups. We need to create an India that is educated. What is the second fault that India has not done? That India has committed that we don't have high GDP. कहाँ गलती हो गई है? पढ़ाई नहीं करी. और 3 मुद्दे हैं मोटे मोटे. दूसरा क्या काम करते हैं लोग? What is the occupation of an Indian that he is not earning enough? What does he do? आखिर लोग कमाएंगे तो जीडीपी बढ़ेगा. लोग नहीं कमा रहे हैं. क्यों नहीं कमा रहे हैं? Where is the fault?
Taxes are high. Once taxes down, there will be.
Frankly speaking, America has higher taxes. Europe has higher taxes than India. I mean, we as chartered accountants are saying international taxation. आप देखिए, मैंने भी किया है. India is very reasonable in taxation.
फैमिली मेंबर्स 5 होते हैं, एक कमाने वाला होता है.
Yes, you can say that, but how will you describe that? Where is the fallacy? Where is the structural fault where India has committed? पढ़ाई नहीं करा. और क्या गलती हुई? क्यों नहीं Indians ने कमाया? Why Indians have not earned enough? What are they doing in our country that they are not earning enough?
एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन नहीं हुआ. They are into jobs more of.
That is one factor you can add up. We don't have our own startups. True. What else do Indians? Why they don't earn enough? Why GDP is so less? What is the primary occupation of an Indian? Yeah, chat. देखें.
China, Japan, which incidentally or unfortunately are above India in the ratings given, both China and Japan have lower interest rates and lower taxes. China,
you all are coming to the financial part. Yes, good. That is true.
China has much more lower interest rate, cost of money is low, taxation are also low, indirect, and much enabling environment for companies, ease of doing business. India has a democracy. That has been a little disadvantage because we take time for decision making in a consultative process, but that's a major advantage. So far, that is the only constraint which has been impacting. Right. Otherwise, India would have been far, far higher than any other country.
No, India would not be. No, no, India will not be. There is a major fault. Ramesh and Rakesh. No, why, Manoj ji, India cannot be. What is the, आपने ये नहीं बताया था, रमेश ने भी आंसर किया कि इंडिया पीछे क्यों रह रहा है. Major community eating away large fund. नहीं. See, you all forgot that what is the primary occupation of an Indian? What does he do? How many people of Indians are engaged in the primary occupation of agriculture?
Agriculture, 70%.
65.
More than 50%. Some time ago when we were students, it was 70%. But today it is 50%. So 1 out of 2 Indians is a farmer. How can India progress? 50% of the people will do farming. Ab Bombay ke hai, if I assume all of you are from Mumbai, or even if you're not, आधे लोग देश के अगर फार्मिंग करेंगे they grow rice, wheat, and they say कि in the lockdown, I still remember the labor was migrating. I was telling them, अरे यहाँ बैठो, क्यों जा रहे हो आप? क्यों पैदल करके जा रहे हो? They said one thing, हमारे पास गांव में चावल है, गेहूं है और साल भर के लिए हम लोग उगाते हैं और बहुत सारा खाना है, आप भी आना कभी और खाना. इनका दिल इतना बड़ा है इन वर्कर्स का. हम यहाँ 4 महीना काम करने आते हैं, कमाने को आते हैं और चले जाते हैं. Bulk of India is growing rice, wheat, and they are surviving only for 1 year. They have enough food to feed themselves and the guests that come to their home. But they have only that much comfort of life. So India, because fertile soil, good amount of rain, we can produce enough food for themselves. एक गाय ले ली और खाना पीना है, खेती है, that makes India 50% of them work on the farms. GDP नहीं बढ़ सकता.
So we will have to change the GDP model then, because happiness index भी तो कुछ होता है.
No country in the world, barring the top countries, have only, if you see US, you see whole of Europe, only 2 or 3% people work in the farms. Farming के लिए. India is more than 50%. So, and that also on farms where reforms are not coming. And traditional methods of farming. बारिश है तो हम जी लेंगे. बारिश नहीं आई तो ये लोग 12 महीना बॉम्बे आके बैठेंगे. लेबर आपको बॉम्बे मिलेगा. But होती है, by and large, India is bountiful. There is good amount of rain every year. More or less, India is southwest monsoon cover करता है India को. That makes India a great place so far as farming and fertile land is concerned. So हमको खाना पीने तक काम हो रहा है. That's why we are lagging behind. The industrialized countries, they are not dwelling so much on farming. And of course, every budget, आप देखो ध्यान से. So you will find budget में either madam has to, अभी निर्मला सीतारामन madam has to do something for agriculture. Because bulk of India is living in the rural areas. How many states in India? Yes, primitive cultivation methods. Yes, Siva Prasad, true. How many states in India? 28. Very, very true. How many villages in India?
6 lakhs.
6.5 lakhs. So these areas are not well developed. And again, it comes to a finance question. हमारे पास तकलीफ है, न तालीम अच्छा दे रहे हैं गांव को, न इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अच्छा है, न ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स यूज करते हैं, न साइंटिफिक मेथड्स. Where is the fault? Why we don't give a good infrastructure? क्यों बच्चों को स्कूल अच्छे नहीं हैं, हॉस्पिटल्स अच्छे नहीं हैं? Where is the fault? Where is the fault? Why government is not able? Corruption. Who is the most corrupt in our country?
Bureaucracy.
Bureaucrats.
And who else?
Politicians.
Congress. Okay. And now you tell me, Shiv Sena, everyone. That is the correct answer. Gaurang, very nice answer. 1% of our people pay taxes. 99% people making noise. What is the budget revenue that was presented by Nirmala Sitaraman this fiscal? Gaurang gave the correct answer. How much is the budget revenue of our country? कैसे schools बनेंगे? पैसे तो बताओ. How much every year we come and discuss the budget and we talk about it. What is the budget revenue?
2 lakh crore?
How many lakh crore, sir?
2 lakhs crore?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. Very less. 2 lakh crore. Reliance turnover is 10 lakh crores. 7 lakh in refining and 2 lakh in geo and 1 lakh in retail. 14 lakh crores. No, sir. By the way, the market cap of Apple is $3 trillion. That is 75 lakh crore. No, Bakul. No, 80 lakh crore नहीं. हम फाइनेंस के लोग हैं और हमें बजट का फिगर हमें जानना चाहिए. What is our budget revenue?
20 lakhs, sorry.
22 to 30 lakhs crore.
22 lakh crore, not 30. I give one. We are CAs. We can sign balance sheets. Approximately इतना है नहीं. Balance sheet true and fair एक ही figure होगा. So 22 lakh crore and What is the budget expenditure?
Around 28 lakhs crore.
No, 39 lakh crores. 17 lakh crore ka deficit hai. When you cover, please understand, when you see India, and we see that we have collected only 22 lakh crores. Last year was 20 lakh crore and 34 lakh crores. There was a 14 lakh crore deficit. This year we have 17 lakh crore deficit. COVID जा ही नहीं रहा है, deficit कैसे कम होगा? 22 lakh crore कोई figure है? Two Reliance is one India. इस देश को चलाने के लिए 20 lakh crore है. And how many people have paid taxes? How many people pay taxes in our country? Direct tax. 1 crore. Actually 5 crore, half of them file zero tax return.
Right.
कुछ काम का नहीं है return. ऐसे ही file कर दिया. Hardly CBDT says hardly 1% people are paying tax. 99% people are making noise in our country. पैसा नहीं आएगा तो सरकार खर्च कैसे करेगी? कैसे आपको अच्छा तालीम, कैसे अच्छे स्कूल्स, अच्छा साइंटिफिक सीड्स, अच्छा सोशल सिक्योरिटी, अच्छे हॉस्पिटल्स बन ही कैसे सकते हैं?
तो 22 लाख करोड़ में डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स दोनों आ गया, राइट?
22 लाख, यस. इनफैक्ट आई वाज गोइंग टू आस्क यू, इसमें से जो 22 लाख करोड़ है, इसमें से ज्यादा पैसा कहां से कलेक्ट किया? डायरेक्ट टैक्स या इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स है?
अभी तो इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स से लग रहा है 12 लाख करोड़.
हर बच्चा स्टूडेंट बाय हार्ट करता है ये, राइट? कि हमने इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स से टैक्स कलेक्ट किया. व्हाट डज इट सिग्निफाई?
Consumption?
No, it signifies a very big, major problem of India. Direct tax is a progressive or a regressive form of taxation. Is it called progressive or regressive?
Direct is progressive.
Correct. Direct is progressive. अच्छा है, जमाने के साथ चलता है. Indirect tax is called
Regressive.
regressive. ये बाय हार्ट करते हैं, राइट? हम लोग क्यों? Regressive जमाने के साथ नहीं चलता है, खराब फॉर्म है. Regressive is bad. Bad form of taxation. India relies on a bad form of taxation. Why is it bad? Why is indirect tax bad? What is the reason it is bad? It is not the correct way to collect taxes. Any economist, any country of the world will tell you that. Why is it bad? Why indirect tax is bad? And why India collected more from indirect tax? Two questions come. Why is it bad? First,
Discourages people to consume.
Because, yeah, why is it bad? Because
He's saying discourages people to consume.
no. Indirect tax taxes the poorest of the poor people on the street. ये जो 12 लाख करोड़ आ रहा है, तकरीबन 10 लाख करोड़ लास्ट ईयर आया डायरेक्ट टैक्स से, 12-13 लाख करोड़ 13 लाख करोड़ इनफैक्ट वहां से आया. जीएसटी इज 1 लाख करोड़ पर मंथ. जीएसटी से ज्यादा पैसा when we collect or indirect tax से, see, government ends up charging high amounts of indirect taxation figures, rates, because it is frustrated. It doesn't get enough money from the direct tax, so it collects more money from the indirect tax. Now, indirect tax, you've charged the poorest of the poor. ये जो एसवी रोड पर जो हम देखते हैं लोग रहते हैं, आप वॉक करिए कार्टर रोड पे, they make food on the street. Are they taxpayers? Indeed they are. When they light a matchbox to burn the wood, they have come in the tax net. When they buy the soap and they buy the oil, keep their body and soul together, they have come in the tax net. In fact, आप मैरिको का केस देखो जीएसटी का, वो कहता है कोकोनट ऑयल है, आप ज्यादा टैक्स मत करो जीएसटी को. क्यों? हम लोग उसको खाने में यूज करते हैं. कौन सा आदमी पैराशूट ऑयल खाने में यूज करता है बॉम्बे में? The more educated you are, the more you find ways that taxes less. And the poorest of the poor have no option. They cannot even tell you that don't tax me. But this 13 lakh crore that was collected in India was collected more via indirect tax, signifying that there is more poor people who have paid tax, who should not have paid tax.
बट पीपल मेंटेलिटी भी तो यही है ना कि हमें डायरेक्टली मत टैक्स कीजिए, इनडायरेक्टली यू डू। आई मीन
नहीं, ये नहीं है मेंटालिटी। तो इनफैक्ट लोग टैक्स ही नहीं पे करते हैं। when you don't pay taxes, आपकी मेंटालिटी क्यों आनी चाहिए? इनफैक्ट द poorest cannot even talk who have contributed to the indirect tax, a lot of them. India is nothing but bulk of the people who live below the poverty line. Lot of them, 30% of them living below the poverty line, who don't have enough money to eat also.
Prakash, just move on your other slides. You have got good slides on current geopolitical situation, pastel, geopolitical, economic.
So I'll just finish. This is a more important. Pastel is more of academic that I teach. But to just conclude that we particularly don't have in a good form of taxation. The poor people have contributed to more towards indirect taxes, and we particularly feel that India has to change in the taxation also. That is one area. We have done well. India is many Indias. हम कह रहे हैं हम अमीर हैं. आप देखेंगे India has beaten UK stock market. We have crossed the. ये मैंने slide अभी डाला. I think Manoj, you will not have it. I was actually preparing the slide today morning. I had academic classes for 2. Yesterday I couldn't work, so this I felt मैं add करूँ. India is doing well. We are growing faster than other countries, and so we have done well. The largest stock market in the world is a bubble, $46 trillion, and China is 11. Japan is 5. India भी आ गया है. India बड़े bracket में आ गया है. We should become number 3 very soon. Okay. What is the need of global business? The world is not evenly distributed in natural resources. देखो आप, oil गल्फ में है, iron ore यहाँ है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है, gold साउथ अफ्रीका में है, right? इंडिया में gold है ही नहीं, and so international business is very much needed. We cannot survive in a world without international business. The need for international business is that we need to flow our goods and services, promptly. We do business via FDI. Mauritius से बहुत पैसा आता है, उसको हम FII route कहते हैं, और जो factories कोका-कोला और IKEA और जो आते हैं वो FDI कहते हैं, वो भी आता है इंडिया में. Today world is global, आज अमेरिका में जो डिस्कवरी होती है वो इंडिया में उसका बेनिफिट आता है. Where are the largest number of WhatsApp users in the world?
इंडिया ना.
India, 42 crore users, active users. So मेरे क्लास में अगर बच्चे होते हैं कैमरा बंद, अभी तो ऑनलाइन खत्म हो रहा है, बट आई ऑफन से आपने फेसबुक का वैल्यूएशन बढ़ाया है. We can safely say camera band means WhatsApp chalu, Facebook chalu, Insta chalu hai. India has more users than US. And what are these valuations of these companies? Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, Netflix, Google are each more than $1 trillion, including Tesla now. Trade has expanded globally. Trade is moving very fast. There is rapid changes taking place. What is happening in US? Achha, see, who made the COVID vaccine? India ने कौन सी vaccine use करी? आपने कौन सी vaccine लगाई है?
Covishield.
Covishield किसने बनाई?
Serum Institute.
Not correct.
US has made, na?
Not US. It's UK. Oxford AstraZeneca. उसको license पे उसने royalty pay किया. It's often I feel देखो इंडिया को पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए. इंडिया पढ़ता नहीं है तो we are doing. So हमारे जो students हैं सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्राम्स चलाते हैं, Oracle, C++, Java, ये सब सिलिकॉन वैली में लिखे हुए हैं. So world is moving, of course, rapidly. We are getting advantages. लेकिन पैसा वो कमाएगा जो पढ़ाई करेगा, जो पेटेंट करेगा, रिसर्च करेगा. India has to make its own products. मैं एक क्विज ले सकता हूँ इसके ऊपर, वेरी ब्रीफली. 6-7 सवाल हैं. आप कौन सा टूथपेस्ट यूज करते हो? See how foreigners have understood India. Which is the largest toothpaste in India?
But they all made in India.
Which one?
Colgate.
Colgate is not Indian. 2000 का भाव है. Monday को आप लोग check कर सकते हैं. 1800.
These are made in India.
No, इसका Colgate is not Indian. It's
not Indian, right?
How can it be Indian?
Yeah.
Right. In fact, students say, sir, हम लोग paste नहीं बोलते हैं, हम बोलते हैं Colgate तो. Right. Which is the largest FMCG company in our country?
HUL.
HUL. Monday को क्या भाव होगा? 2100 का भाव होगा. ITC 230 पे रुका हुआ है, 240 पे. आगे चलिए. Which is the largest shoe company? See how these foreign companies have performed at BSC, which is the largest shoe company in our country. हाँ? कौन सा जूता के दुकान दिखते हैं आपको?
Bata.
Bata is Indian?
No.
Bata is a Canadian company that originated from Czechoslovakia. Thomas Bata.
Bata's current CEO is Indian.
Yes. क्या भाव है बाटा का मंडे को?
1800 का भाव है.
1800 का भाव है. करेक्ट है मनीष सर. आगे चलिए. इंडिया का largest soft drink.
Pepsi.
Pepsi not Indian. इंडिया का लार्जेस्ट डॉक्टर्स कहते हैं गरम पियो. गर्मी है इंडिया में, ठंडा मत पियो. गरम कॉफी पियो. ब्लड डोनेशन में हम कॉफी देते हैं. विच इज द लार्जेस्ट नेस्कॉफी कौन बनाता है? इंडिया. नेस्ले. क्या भाव नेस्ले का?
नेस्ले 15,000.
15,000 में दे दीजिए हमें जितना चाहिए.
Yes.
18 का भाव चल रहा है. 19,000 तक गया था. Right? See, we are certainly surrounded by.
Sir, Prakash sir, I just like to interrupt you.
Yes.
By saying all these things, what we did for 70 years? That is a question that comes in my mind. Because I understand what I understand till 1991, there was so much Inspector Raj. You cannot produce anything, there is a film on Dhirubhai Ambani. Like he was asked to produce 100 pieces, allowed to produce 100 pieces. And he produced 200 pieces, right? Because right. Inspector Raj certain quantity से आप बनाने का allowed ही नहीं था वो जमाने में. But everything was open for the multinational companies. So here
multinational का भी same rules था. In fact, they were told to go away.
Sir, rules तो same था, but they were doing it ना.
देखिए वो इतिहास है मनीष जी. वो गलती है इंडिया की गलती है और हम मानते हैं. लेकिन मैं ये क्विज कहाँ पे एंड करूंगा, आपको ये सवाल पूछूंगा. Of course, Cadbury chocolate is not Indian. बच्चा हर एक इंडिया में Cadbury मांगता है, which is not even a chocolate. Cadbury is a brand, but a child in India, अगर उसको पूछो कि chocolate चाहिए, तो what does a child say? He says, I want Cadbury. Is Cadbury a chocolate? No. But I'll end with this to Manish, in particular to you. कि इंडिया ऊपर आएगा और आया है, which is the largest.
Fully agree.
Yeah, which is the largest telecom player in our country today.
Jio.
Which is the largest FMCG company that is challenging HUL today.
Adani Wilmar.
Patanjali. See,
Patanjali, but
ये companies आएंगे.
पतंजलि से ज्यादा बड़ा कंपनी अदानी विल्मर है as on date.
है पतंजलि, लेकिन जब बोलता है कि हम HUL को हराएंगे, so we feel happy. Why should we not have that love for the, that we need to protect our local industries? But why do you think foreign companies have succeeded in India? खास करके why you think China, जिसने हमारे 20 लोगों को मारा है, it is not acceptable at the border? Why we use Chinese products? Why do we use Chinese products in our country?
Low prices, better quality, and brand.
So why does India not block them, charge them high duty, and say nahi, isko.
If you see that after 2014, when the present government has taken over, lot of anti-dumping duty products on the products were levied actually, which was not there before in the past. To be very precisely, that is what I have been learning.
No. इसके पहले भी हम लोग यूज करते थे, चाइना का बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स यूज करते थे, आज भी यूज कर रहे हैं. What is the reason Indians will continue to use these products?
एज ए इंडिविजुअल और एज ए आई मीन इंडियन, मैं इसको बोलता हूँ तन से भारतीय मन से अंग्रेज. मतलब
नहीं वो भी बात नहीं है. देखिए, धंधे में इमोशंस नहीं होता है. आप चाइना का माल इसलिए यूज करते हो क्योंकि वो अच्छा है और वैल्यू फॉर मनी है, राइट? हम लोग क्यों यूज करते हैं ये? इन शॉर्ट, आई जस्ट, बिकॉज टाइम कम है, वी यूज इट बिकॉज ऑफ WTO. मुझे याद है, मैं CI के डेलीगेशन में था वेस्ट इंडीज में. हाई कमिश्नर ने हमको बुलाया और हमको खाना, डिनर पे इनवाइट किया डेलीगेशन को, और खाना खिलाया. और खाने के बाद तो भाषण तो देंगे कमिश्नर, हाई कमिश्नर. और खाने के बाद हमको चाइना आगे आ गया है, वेस्ट इंडीज में चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट्स मिल रहे हैं, आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो? क्यों इंडिया ऊपर नहीं आया है? क्यों आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स नहीं लेके आते हो इंडिया से? क्यों कपड़ा नहीं लेके आते हो इंडिया से? एक्सपोर्ट क्यों नहीं करते हो? यू नो व्हाट वी टोल्ड हिम, सर आप ऐसे इमोशंस पे मत आइए. मैं 1 कंटेनर नहीं 4 कंटेनर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक का लेके आता हूँ वेस्ट इंडीज में फ्रॉम इंडिया. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, मुझे कोई सब्सिडी नहीं है, मैं नुकसान करूंगा, मेरी कंपनी बिक जाएगी, बैंक्रप्सी में आ जाएगी. हम ऐसे काम नहीं कर सकते हैं. हम कपड़ा नहीं बेच पाएंगे, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स नहीं बेच पाएंगे. चाइना हमसे कहीं आगे चल चुका है. सो WTO के कारण हम लोग चाइनीज फोन यूज करते हैं, बिकॉज इवन द हाईएस्ट ड्यूटी वी कैन चार्ज इज 30%, एंड वो करने के बाद भी चाइना हमसे चीपर है. एंड व्हाई डज चाइना मूव अहेड जियोपॉलिटिकली? उसने क्या काम किए हैं कि आप और हम चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट्स यूज करते हैं? व्हाई आफ्टर पेइंग 30% आल्सो they are good quality? Because वो लोग अपना करेंसी को मैनिपुलेट करते हैं. बहुत शातिर हैं वो. That is the fault of theirs. इंडिया ऊपर आ रहा है, बट धीरे धीरे ऊपर आ रहा है. We cannot compare ourselves with China, because China का political system क्या है? China का political system is authoritarian rule, right? Communist rule. Should we copy China? No, it is not good, right?
No.
So this is what the ending is. Okay, when we do business, we have to see political area, like economic areas. These are of course theoretical questions, and social areas. क्या culture है? तभी हम जाके trade करते हैं. Technological factors, and that's it. So that completes my PPT. I'll just take a question and answer. We'll just summarize there. कि देखो, India has to come up. We are members of WTO, इसीलिए हम चाइना यूज करते हैं. चाइना अपनी करेंसी डिवैल्यू करते जा रहा है ताकि इसके प्रोडक्ट सस्ते हो जाए दुनिया में. चाइना
see by devaluation, how long they will sustain?
Well, they have done very well. They have reached a $13 trillion GDP. They have made the currency in such a way कि $50 में काम हो जाता है एक चाइनीज का गांव में. इंडिया में आपको ऐसा काम नहीं हो सकता है. इंडिया इतना सस्ता नहीं है. So that is the reason हम लोग मैनिपुलेटर्स नहीं है. हम लोग ईमानदारी से काम करते हैं. इसीलिए हमें तकलीफ है. एयरपोर्ट को 10 साल हुआ पनवेल का, नवी मुंबई का, लेकिन अभी तक नहीं बना. चाइना
that is a corruption, ना? That is a corruption, sir.
करप्शन भी कह सकते हो, बट वो पॉलिटिकल. देखिए, चाइना में आप एयरपोर्ट देखिए, हांगकांग एयरपोर्ट देखिए, क्या बनाया है. क्या वो लोग सोचते हैं बनाने का तो एक्वायर कर लेते हैं. आई हैव गॉन अंडर द सी इन द मेट्रो to in from Hong Kong, Kowloon to China side. उनका मेट्रो is under the sea. हम लोग एक ब्रिज ओवर द ब्रिज बॉम्बे टू बांद्रा टू वर्ली बनाए, वर्ली टू नारीमन पॉइंट नहीं बना पाए अभी तक. वो लोग समुद्र में जाके अंदर उन्होंने सी बनाया है. हमें ये चीजें सीखनी है कि ये लोग कर सकते हैं ये काम. बट शुड वी कॉपी चाइना?
नहीं.
नो, बिकॉज वो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम ठीक नहीं है.
China, I tell you, after 5 years or down the line, China will crash. Definitely in some way, somehow. Financially crash or socially crash. Or, you know, like USSR, what happened? They could not bear the cost of the army. That is the major reason of division of USSR. Same thing will happen in China.
True.
After some time, they may not able to bear the cost of army. So something will go wrong. Devaluation is not at all the solution down the line. Manmohan Singh has done devaluation many times. We all know that was even before that. So devaluation is not the solution.
हमारे of course they are enemy at the border and हमें underestimate तो नहीं कर सकते हैं.
नहीं कर सकते.
China is a largest GDP of the world in purchasing power parity. उन्होंने $13 ट्रिलियन चाइना में बनाया है, अमेरिका में नहीं. अगर ये चाइना के बाहर माल बनता है, ये माल बहुत ऊपर जाता है जीडीपी के हिसाब से.
Sir, one thing I will tell you about China, very good. Their education system is so good that their students are able to compete in world any university, which is not our case basically, because I have a personal experience, sir.
Yes.
My son studies in Germany.
Right.
He says that any except German student, only Chinese and Korean, they can able to do well in German universities. All other countries, including India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, their students are much more on the backside, right? Way behind than the Chinese student and Korean student. So Chinese and
Korean are in the global Fortune 500 companies, including Google, Microsoft, Tesla, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, all will have Indians. I agree that their system, their analytical skills are good, but they have got, अभी देखिए, they have money. India को 20 लाख करोड़ में medical students, देखिए, it's a tragedy that we have sent 20,000 children to Ukraine. We don't have a good higher education. But मेरा ये मानना है that Indian mind is a very, very hardworking, intellectual, analytical mind. There is, people criticize movies भी बनती है. मैं बोलता हूँ बच्चों को, you please leave your brains at home and then go and see Three Idiots, which criticizes our education system. The Indian, brain is a very, very, analytical brain, but then it is not groomed well because हमारे पास infrastructure नहीं है. China, Russia, बड़ा infrastructure. मैं खुद रशिया में देख के आया हूँ and I have worked in this zone where Ukraine is fighting. मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ था कि हम लोग ने बड़े schools, education institutions बनाने को रह गए और नहीं बन सकते हैं जब तक लोग टैक्स नहीं पे करेंगे. 20 लाख करोड़ में इंडिया नहीं चल सकता. 20 लाख करोड़ में से डिफेंस बजट इज अबाउट 5 लाख करोड़ बॉर्डर के लिए. सो these people have created very good infrastructure. Chinese students में China यूनिवर्सिटी में इंडियंस मिलेंगे आपको जो माइग्रेट हुए हैं. यूक्रेन के बेस्ट जो स्टूडेंट्स मिलेंगे आपको. 20,000 इंडियंस मिलेंगे, नंबर 1 रैंकिंग. आई ऑल्सो एग्री दैट हमारे में फ्लॉज हैं जो आपने कहा, मनीष जी ने कहा, वो सही है. बट देन ये फ्लॉज वर्केबल है. इंडिया का जो ओल्डेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी है, वर्ल्ड का यूनिवर्सिटी है. कौन सा यूनिवर्सिटी है वो, जो जहां 10,000 लोग पढ़ने को आते थे और अभी वो पाकिस्तान में है? तक्षशिला, जहां से चाणक्य आया था. और नालंदा ऑफ कोर्स है, डिस्ट्रॉयड. बट ये सेंटर्स ऑफ लर्निंग इंडिया के धरोहर है फ्रॉम थाउजेंड्स ऑफ इयर्स.
तो हमें अपनी ग्लोरीफाइड जो हिस्ट्री है वो अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम में लानी होगी, अवेयरनेस और कॉन्शियसनेस लाने के लिए.
पहले तो टैक्सेस पे करने होंगे, बिकॉज आपने सही कहा, चोरी हम सब कर रहे हैं. कोई थोड़ा चोरी कर रहा है, कोई
टैक्सेस पे करने के लिए भी कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग इज नीडेड. नो, character building is very much needed.
I think love for the country is needed.
Patriotism and character building and then personality develop होगी तभी काम होगा ना.
So true. With that, and as finance we must understand, जब तक सरकार के पास पैसे नहीं आएंगे, नोट्स प्रिंट करेंगे और कंट्री चलाएंगे, नहीं चल सकता. We need money by the people, for the people, of the people. तो ही एक institutions बनेंगे. And by the way, हमारा tax to GDP ratio is not even 20%. अमेरिका का tax to GDP ratio and globally European countries tax to GDP ratio is 20%. अमेरिका का budget figure is 3.5 trillion, जितना हमारा GDP नहीं है. और यूरोप का भी आप देखेंगे जितना जीडीपी है उसका 20% वो लोग टैक्सेस के पे करते हैं. यहाँ लिटरली 10 लाख करोड़ क्या फिगर है, 11 लाख करोड़. बाकी तो सरकार देश चलाने के लिए जबरदस्ती इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स ले रही है. So with that, I think I close my presentation and it's 1:25. If there are 5 minutes more, we can take. Otherwise, we can close. Manoj ji.
Very interesting, huh? What is some of the facts which have not been shared are very important. What is the deficit of US and what are going to be the consequences of that?
Well, that's a $5 trillion notes printing. It's a Bretton Woods story. It's again very sad story. But to 1945 की story है that makes US dollar be used as a medium of exchange to settle trades. US को कभी डेफिसिट आ ही नहीं सकता. वो जस्ट नोट्स प्रिंट करते जाता है एंड दुनिया की महंगाई अगर कोई बढ़ा रहा है आज वो US है.
What is the inflation in USA and how it will meet the challenges? What is the fate of the currency, the US dollars, and what is its fate? What are the emerging geopolitical economics coming? Lots of things are happening. It's a dynamic situation. Yeah, Bakul, you raise your hand. Please share your thoughts, mention your qualification and experience, and we can have any interaction and without discussing any politics. Yeah, Bakul. Bakul, you raise your hand.
Bakul, my voice.
You are on mute. You are on mute, Bakul ji.
Sorry, Abhi सुनाई दे रहा है?
Put your videos on. It's useful for all participants.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Bakul ji.
You are again on mute, Bakul ji.
Bakul, your video was on. I think, can you put it back?
Left. No. Sir, Bakul bhai, शायद उनका internet connection चला गया.
Till he connects, would anybody else like to share any thoughts? Yeah, Bakul is back. Bakul,
Hello.
Just mention your qualification and experience and lovely interaction.
Hello.
Yes, Desai ji.
Yes. Bakul bhai, we can see you.
You can type your message. I've got it. Yeah. You can type your message. I got it, and I'll take it up on the chat.
That's a good suggestion. But again, yeah. Maybe this internet connection is not.
Would
good.
anybody else like to share any thoughts? Mr. Shiva Prasad? Nice to have you here.
Yes, sir. Voice is not there.
Bakul bhai, can you type your message on the chat box?
Yeah, Mr. Shiva Prasad.
Yes. Yeah, I have already written. Now you can hear?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, we can hear.
Yes.
Bharat in education. Yes, sir. There certainly those are the same things that common sense is telling us, that we need to educate our children. We need to ramp up our education, remove people from agriculture, bring reforms so that there is direct farming, contract farming. Walmart wants to do it, but India is complex. But what we can do, we can slowly and gradually move forward. It's an elephant that has to be carried along. But with education, I think a lot of sense will come. Having a small family and having, yeah.
And
Yes.
also, sir, in education also a lot of reforms are required. Like, skills upgradation is not there. It is a typical methodical education is imparted. No teaching about life, no teaching about the skills, etc. Which if it is included, people can be much more productive
True.
and positive.
See, India has many Indias. So the top education of India, IIT, IIM, CA, doctors, is world-class education. It's the best brains. Bottom education is very weak because paisa nahi hai, 20 lakh crores hai. Country cannot survive and work with 20 lakh crores. And you get a very good public schools, municipal schools. Public schools are very good quality. Correct? We don't even have, see now children are going outside to study. ऐसा क्या गलती है? इतना अच्छे brains है इंडिया में, इतने अच्छे faculties है. How doctors, do you think a Ukrainian doctor is better than an Indian doctor?
No.
I will not trust, I will trust a KEM doctor. Right?
True.
But गलतियां हैं, infrastructure नहीं है, सरकार के हाथ बंधे हुए हैं, पैसा नहीं है. पैसा इसलिए नहीं है, लोग टैक्स नहीं पे करते.
सर एक दूसरा वो भी कारण है कि काफी पैसे जो पर्पस के लिए यूज नहीं होना चाहिए वहां हो रहा है. जैसे हज के लिए सब्सिडी दे दी जाती है, ये अपने मदरसा में ऐसे एयर कंडीशन लगाए जाते हैं, मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट्स को हर महीने 3,500 रुपया दिया जाता है. ऐसे सब जो
avoid discussions on politics and religion.
नहीं अपने
just avoid discussions on politics and religion. But the point
पैसा जा रहा है सर.
It's avoid. It's a public platform. Avoid discussion on politics and religion. But very good point on education policy. After a long time, education policy has been discussed and framed. So that will hopefully respond to all the requirements. So many people have suggested. The thoughts have come from you, Mr. Desai, and also Mr. Shiva Prasad. The new education policy, hopefully, it will address that not only in terms of theory but also in practice.
So one last thought was that increase the education, the marriage age of 21 kar rahe hain. So that will that was a research paper that India should educate their children. So child marriages have to be stopped. So these are social areas where we need to bring the change. But the prime area is money is needed. So घर नहीं चल सकता अगर पैसा नहीं होगा तो. India भी एक घर है, परिवार है. और India has 3 CAs in the cabinet. Piyush Goyal, Suresh Prabhu, Kirit Somaiya. These are people who have come to our institute, felicitated the ranker children. Personally, we have seen them motivating the children. So it's not that there is no talent in our country, but dhire the mindset of the people, just as Swachh Bharat Sudhar hua, let there be little bit of propaganda on correct areas. Let there be more of understanding that we have to study. That's what Amartya Sen was told when he got the Nobel Prize. He told India, "Sab band karo, padhai karo." That was his correct message that he told. Don't build factories and don't copy China. First give right to education came only because of the Nobel laureate, Amartya Sen, who said that give education. Even Banerjee, jo hai randomized experience Nobel laureate, he also has said ki, motivate the people, the poor people. There is a lot of damage to our social system. You study their research papers, so you will get somewhat answers are there in the country. Implementation के लिए ताकत चाहिए.
Kaji, how you look at it that politicians are just distributing everything free? Like sir, आपने example लिया Banerjee साहब का जिनको Nobel मिला था. He was the instrumental in giving 72,000 per year to per person in everybody in India.
Sir, उसका जो theory था ना,
somebody if you give 72,000 rupees as it is without doing any work.
Sir, his randomized experience randomized poverty
like Nobel
experience.
letterboard people बोलते हैं कि सर सबको education दो, दूसरी बाजू से they are helping a political party.
Actually, आप अभिजीत बैनर्जी का जो आप स्टडी करेंगे ना मनीष जी, उसने क्या कहा था कि आपको पोलियो वैक्सीन देना है, तो आप जब तक इंसेंटिव नहीं दोगे ना तो वो आदमी पोलियो वैक्सीन लेने को नहीं आएगा। आपको एजुकेशन भी देना है ना तो खाना रखो साथ में, पोलियो वैक्सीन देना है ना तो उसके साथ आप एक फ्री भी रखो, साबुन या वो ऑयल का पैकेट, तो वो मोटिवेट करेगा आने के लिए पोलियो वैक्सीन लेने के लिए। इसका ये रिसर्च ये कहता है गरीबी बहुत है, people will not come just because you
that's true, like I am fully agree. मिड डे मील जो बच्चे को दी जाती है जो स्कूल में जाते हैं उनको तो मैं I fully agree with them कि if they don't get anything, like पेट में कुछ खाना नहीं जाएगा तो आदमी भगवान का भक्ति भी नहीं करेगा, तो पढ़ाई तो बहुत दूर की बात है। So that I am understanding, but sometimes this kind of people understanding, like I fully agree with Mr. Banerjee who got a Nobel. He says that yes, everybody should get education, but at the same time, sir, we have seen Venezuela is the best example. सबसे अच्छा सस्ता ऑयल है दुनिया का, 2 रुपये लीटर पेट्रोल है वेनेजुएला में, फिर भी वहां पे इतना इन्फ्लेशन है, वहां पे इतनी बेरोजगारी है, because 15 years back government says we will give you everything, you don't work. So now nobody works there. That is why today Venezuela is the most, हालत इतना खराब है उधर, शायद आपको भी पता होगा ये बात।
नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता, साउथ अमेरिका मैंने स्टडी नहीं किया। आई हैव बीन टू वेस्ट इंडीज, बट वेनेजुएला हालत खराब, इससे खराब हालत वो बोत्सवाना, इसका जिम्बाब्वे का है, जहां मैंने अफ्रीका में काम किया, वो इससे खराब है। वो उसका दिमाग, वो पढ़ा लिखा नहीं था रॉबर्ट मुगाबे, तो he just went on printing dollars. So he thought कि मैं प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करूंगा, अब समझ ही नहीं है, पढ़ाई नहीं है, तो what he created is the highest inflation in the whole world. ये उससे खराब है वेनेजुएला से, if I'm not mistaken, because मैंने वेनेजुएला स्टडी नहीं करा। मैंने बोत्सवाना है, मैं डर्बन में था, तो मेरा एक इंडियन मिला, गुजराती था, मैं कहा उसको यार इधर होटल खोला है, तू बोलता है मेरी इतनी अच्छी कंट्री से आया हूँ, क्या बताऊं, मेरा मन नहीं हो रहा था। He was from Zimbabwe. कहता है लेकिन वो आदमी को अक्ल नहीं है कि he is printing notes, he is going on printing dollars and dollars and dollars. रॉबर्ट मुगाबे। तो मैं, वो बोलता है इतना अच्छा क्लाइमेट, इतना मेरे को डर्बन आने का नहीं है, लेकिन मैं यहाँ आके कर रहा हूँ, मेरा जमीन, मेरा घर, मैं सब बेच बाच के इतना परेशान हो गया हूँ उधर। So when there is no education, and especially at the top level, this is what happens.
Sir, one more question for you, sir, from my side. If we take back rupees 2000 note, will it reduce the corruption?
No, sir. ये गलती था. Demonetization was also a fallacy which the government says. But इससे 2-3 चीजें अच्छी हुई इंडिया के लिए. One is that black money कम हो गया रियल एस्टेट में, और दूसरा people started paying tax. और डायरेक्ट टैक्स जो छुपा हुआ मनी था, काफी लोग निकल के आए। और बाद में सर एक और है, दैट हमारा मोटर सॉन्ग कहता है दैट बी अलर्ट, या एष सुप्तेषु जागृति, गॉड इज अलर्ट। वो लास्ट में गॉड इज ओनली द ऑडिटर, सो ही सीज एवरीथिंग, लोग क्या करते हैं। वी कैन कंक्लूड विद दैट थॉट, लाइफ इज फेयर, सब ठीक चल रहा है दुनिया में, कुछ गलत नहीं हो रहा है, क्योंकि दुनिया को हम नहीं चला रहे हैं, ऊपर वाला चला रहा है।
And sir, I wanted to give that answer where somebody, you say that if a successful person says life is fair, somebody says it's a failure person would say life is unfair, correct? But there is one more point from my side. Life is unfair to the people who have suffered actually. So in whatever way, whether because of poverty, because of social issues, because of government policies, why our children have to go out of country, the reason. So it's one kind of sufferedness. Life is unfair for them. People who don't get 2 times food, life is unfair for them. And there are a lot of many more examples.
We can go up to Abraham Maslow and we can say, and if you go and study research, ह्यूमन लाइफ, एक हाईकोर्ट, बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट जज का एक पेपर है, ही विल से Human life is a lot of suffering. Who told you this life is lot of happiness? So he quotes the scriptures also that there is lot of suffering in the human form. If anybody feels that we have come here to enjoy, he's living a fallacy. He's living an illusion. So there is certainly that paper quotes Dukhalaya ka statement कि ये संसार में आप खुशी ढूंढने चाहते हैं और so where is that? So Abraham Maslow also says that same thing, but it's in a pyramid where he says, "Arey bhai, go and do self-actualization and understand why you have come on earth. After you satisfy your physical needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, go and ask who you are." That is
there are millions of people in USA who are in abject poverty, and for them life is not fair. There are millions and crores of people in China who don't have any democracy, and they are also in poverty. They also feel life is not fair for them. So there are millions of people in Hong Kong. They feel life is not fair for them. They have nowhere to go. Some of them are thinking of moving to Dubai, and many of them are thinking of coming back to India. Many feel life is not fair for them. And there are millions of people in a disorganized sector who are getting opportunities to become startups and future startups. They feel life is not becoming good for them because India is getting a share of voice. It's all about negotiations and the timing, which matters. So then it becomes a fairer and fairer. So life needs to be where those who need fairness, they need to raise their voice and grab their opportunity. So wonderful sessions, deep dive discussions from various multiple angles. The stage has come. India growth story moving ahead and ahead, faster and faster with quality moral education, as also one of the participants said, is now becoming compulsory in many states, including Karnataka, which is IT frontier for the whole global economies. So wonderful insights, excellent deep dive discussions. There are lots of requests to do further presentations on this topic on particularly Bharat. Those are really welcome, and they would be done with the support and inputs of all the participants. Really wonderful insights. There is much more to come on financial modeling also to enable each and every startup to get a great opportunity. Gaurang, you are ready with the next deep dive with real life examples next month, and keep connecting, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, wonderful insights. Gaurang, last word from you. And then we can close the meeting. Great suggestion on Bharat 2022, 2030, 2035, moving ahead higher and higher.
Yes.
Gaurang, you are there?
Prakash, very good presentation. Please share this PPT with all.
Okay, Vikas, a final word from you, and then we close the meeting.
Yeah, thank you. It was great presentation by
doing deep dive discussions on this, I believe, every month, right? To take Bharat at the forefront of the global growth story. You have been involved in bringing a lot of global leaders together. And today we had excellent discussions on this. Final word from Vikas Agarwal, and then we will close the meeting.
Yeah, आज का meeting बहुत अच्छा था. Presentation was very good from Prakash ji also and from Gaurang Shah also. And now the world is changing. By 2030, there would be like many health tech, fintech also, and ed tech also. And like for anti-aging, there is research is going on. And then means like the age will be increasing. Now normal age is like 70 to 80, it will increase to 90 to 100 also. So the research are going on that. And the time is of coming of energy and electrical vehicles also. So so we will be witness to it. Everyone will witness to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, audience.
So with this, we end the meeting. Have a nice weekend.
I would request to everyone to watch Kashmir Files. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.